Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round number 7 here at the RUDSKOGEN Motor Centre. One of the tracks that are not normally used on any leagues that I've certainly seen, but is going to be a challenging track for the drivers to get past this round safely. It's very undulated, very tight and twisty circuits, and I'm expecting quite a few spin-offs here tonight. But let's hope the drivers prove me wrong and we have an epic round, which I'm pretty sure we will do. But my name's Andy Thompson. I've got Tom Bingham, who has recovered now from his COVID episode alongside me in the booth, and I'll be running the production as well. So welcome, Tom. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it's RUDSKOGEN. It's one of those tracks that very tight, loads of undulations. It's almost like a miniature Nürburgring. There's not a lot of runoff here, not a lot of areas where people can actually send it for those passes. We had a lot of drivers complaining, saying that where are they going to pass on this track? So qualifying tonight has been absolutely key for a decent start and a potentially finish position.
It certainly is, but we are now over halfway through the season, so let's have a look at the point situation going on at the moment. If we can get them up. Yes, here we go. So we have... there's the championship standings. We'll go for the championship standings first. So the IGL Coated E-Racing team by Sander Trafficsko currently leading the way on 188 points with 9 points behind Team Bear Pope in second place. Bear Pope 0 in third place on 176 points. Dane Racing in fourth on 160 points with 1 point behind Sim Racing Norway in fifth. Olympus Esports RA in sixth place on 158th, and in seventh place we got Team Cottable Racing on 147th. Just behind them in eighth place is AKM Racing UK on 144. Then a bit of a jump to IGL Coatings Racing by Kenzo, and follow out by the rounding out your top 10 is Esports Redstone Team on 111. Let's have a look at the driver standings at the moment. We can sort of see there. Let me just get rid of that. I don't know why that was on there. We can see it in the pro. Thomas Wang is currently leading way on 71 points. Neil Eriks Isaacson only 2 points behind him in second place. Daniel Sedgley from Olympus Esports Redstone in third place. Scott Mokes in fourth with 54 points. In fifth place we got Ketiel Larson on 47th. In sixth we got Michael Hooper on 45, and seventh we got Lars Sorensen on 34 points. Eighth, we got Arias Romantus on 30. Nikolai Frayne is in ninth on 19, and Thomas Cope rounds out your top 10 points. Moving over to the Pro-Am. Currently at the top, we got Lee King McGee on 67 points with second place. James Logston on 58th. In third, we got Kim Andre Bortland on 54. And in fourth, we got Casper Tungsten on 53. With Michael Goff in fifth place on 51. In sixth place, we got Christian Otterholt on 49 points with Sander Island on 48th in seventh. In eighth, we got Alexander Scoret as well on 48 points with Russ Fowler in ninth place on 40 points. With John O'Cook rounding out your top 10 on 35 points. Over to the AMs then, we have Tom Savage with a 75 point, 15 point lead over Simeon Modikov. Simeon does have a 5 point penalty protest awaiting the decision, so that could close the gap slightly if that is reversed. But at the moment, currently on 60 points and in second place. In third place, we've got Stefan Anderson with 57 points. Fourth place, Gordon Haig on 45, with Patrick Wilk on 43 in fifth. Stephen Pierce, who's moved down a class to the Amfield in sixth place on 42, tied with Jimmy Varkon in seventh place on 42, and Shamapon Asavon in joint sixth overall. In ninth place, we got Stefan Albanese on 39 points, with Paul Ward rounding out the field on 32. And in the rookie class, we currently have top of the pile is Sam Curran on 67 points, with Nicholas Gronstrom in second place with 64 points. Paul Joseph Cliss in third on 62. Alan Sandergaard in fourth on 52. Ian Hennebury in fifth on 47, with Torben Melee in sixth place, equal 47 points. Jonathan Wiener on 14, Matthew Green and David Chadwick on 10 points that round out your top 9. So extremely close, and that Pro-Am field at the moment, Tom, is extremely close at the top, all the way down to probably around about 6th place.
Yeah, we did find, Andy, that the Pro-Am field is incredibly tight. You know, it's been tight all season so far. The amount of talent that we have mentioned previously that is in this season is incredibly close. You know, the battling is it's been ridiculous, especially Road America. You know, in our longer endurance race we had. I did find that the Pro-Am field really was the hottest battle on track. So with the way the field is today, you know, a lot of people being away for the weekend and that sort of thing, the Pro-Am field is probably again going to be the spiciest battles on track.
It is 100%. It's going to be really tricky out there for on the track as well. It's going to be very tricky for the drivers. It's a very undulating track, and we'll have a look in the track guide in a minute. But I mean, the drivers are going to be really put to the test here. Where you mentioned the Nordschleife, mini Nordschleife, it's probably got the same undulation. Certainly the first half of the track has got that undulation, but the second half sort of flattens out towards the end. So it's going to be an interesting round for sure. But let's have a look at the track map, and let's have a look around the track here provided by one of our drivers, Thomas Cope, of a lap around RUDSKOGEN. RUDSKOGEN is 2.022 miles or 3.254 kilometers long, and it's very undulating. We've got a short start finish straight here before we come up into turn 1, up into 5th gear, coming all the way down into 2nd gear before cutting the corner on the left, trying to open out. And you'll find a theme with these tracks is literally trying to open the corner and use all the track. You can see there coming out of the exit of turn 2 all the way to the end. So it goes up and then comes down, and probably the most treacherous corner on the track, I believe, is turn number 3. It's downhill, slightly off camber, and the car is just bouncing all around before you come around turn 3 and 4, getting down into 2nd gear, using again all the track over there. So that's where the drivers are probably saying why it's going to be very tricky to make the pass and move before they come up this tight little chicane. Really got to watch out for the throttle application coming through this section. Very easy to spin that back of the car out before coming down into turn 9 and another hairpin, turn number 10. Again, using all the track, trying to use that inside curb, get a good exit, and it's all about the exit speed coming out here before we come up into turn 11, down into turn 12, a real tight left-hander coming down into 2nd gear before you start going up through the gears again and holding it and coming down again through turn number 14, the final corner. It goes on for an eternity, so you really got to watch out for when they get back onto the throttle of the track, and that completes a lap around here. Average lap time, I reckon, during the race is going to be a 120, coming into a 121, so it's going to be an interesting race, and I think them opening couple of laps and also later on with tyre changes are going to come in, certainly coming down into that turn number 3. It's going to be a treacherous corner when it comes down to try and get that car turned in, so I'm expecting quite a few spins coming down into turn 3, that downhill section.
Yeah, this this track is not one for the faint-hearted. It sort of reminds me a little bit of Trial Mountain. I don't know if you ever remember that track, Andy, from the old Gran Turismo days. You know, with those higher mountain walls there. It's not too far away from that track, but there's a lot of tight, twisty corners here. So I guess the question is, which cars are going to be more beneficial to this type of track? I mean, deep down, I would probably say the Audi. Something with the 4-wheel drive, something that's got decent rotation on the brakes. But we never know as well with the Porsche. The Porsche is one car that it's just been formidable this season. A lot of people have switched around, especially to the BMW. But you know what? I think the Porsche is going to be strong here tonight.
It definitely is, but in the qualifying and in practice, it very much seemed that the BMW had the edge on the speed, the overall speed in the shorter stints. It's going to be interesting as the race goes on and how that tyre wear comes into effect. We've seen the tyre wear in the past really not affect the races that much, but I think around this circuit in itself, because you've got such long corners that they've got to really hold and watch where they get on the path. If they start spinning them tyres up, then we could see a lot more issues with tyre wear during this round than any other round. But it's going to be an interesting one, and there's battles throughout the field. I just saw in the chat there, Scott Mokes has obviously been hit by COVID, so he's having to miss this one, which is a bit of a shame because he was getting back on a charge coming in, but you know, there's always another 5 rounds after this one to go anyway for you, Scott. So hopefully you get well from us all here at the team, and you sit back and watch the action as it unfolds, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be plenty of action.
Yeah, this track's not going to disappoint. So I know that the grid tonight is not pushing towards the higher end that we had at the start of the season. So as summer rolls in, you know, and the nicer weather and things, a lot of people are off doing real life motorsport and that sort of thing. So, but a decent turnout for the size of track. And to be honest, I think a lot of people will be almost grateful for that because, you know, with Scott, for example, being off sick, hope we get better, mate. It allows more chance for the front runners in each class to stretch their legs a bit.
It certainly is, and it's going to be an interesting one. And I think qualification is really important around this track because it is going to be quite tight to try and make them passing opportunities really pay out on the circuit, because there is going to be literally, as you saw in that track guide, you're literally using all the track to try and open up the corners as much as possible. So I'm probably expecting some maybe optimistic dives down the inside to try and get them positions, but it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers tackle the overall passing opportunities that are going to come to them.
Yeah, the passing opportunities here, they're going to be very few and far between. There's just no room. There's no room at this track. It's you know, it's like a giant karting track, really. So, but you know, it's the best that Norway have to offer, and it seems to be a big favourite with the home crowd.
Yeah, it was fitting. We had to have this one in the season due to the fact that we've got so many Norwegian drivers in the season to give them a bit of home feeling. They always seem to go everywhere else in the world, but never their home track. So we thought we'd give them an opportunity to race on their home track, and it very much is. You can see there the timing tower. It's pretty much dominated at the moment at the top by the Norwegians overall, but it's going to be an interesting one. But a lot of them are not really driven this track with the GT3 car, so that's going to add that added little pressure now with a faster car around one of the tracks they normally have with the TCRs, the MX5s, and the Formula Vs. So having the GT3 cars around here, there's probably a lot of practice going on this week to make sure that they're up to speed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the closing speed on a GT3 versus a Mazda is, you know, as everybody watching, it's phenomenal. It's a massive, massive leap. I suppose the nice thing about GT3 is you do have ABS. It's something that can help you or hinder you depending on your driving style. But, you know, it's not like we've sent them around in GTEs or anything, at least. That's, you know, a slight kindness. But yeah, we'll find out. You know, it's going to be an interesting round like they always are. It never goes the way we expect it to go, and the battling's going to be awfully tight on this track. So, and just to mention to AKM Racing UK, I am working on getting you the link for the live timing. So bear with me a second, and I will have it sent on the chat as soon as possible.
Definitely, I'm sure you know how to do that, Tom. Anyway, I mean, you can see there the practice. We currently got around about 7.5 minutes left of the practice before we get into the race, and you can see the timing tower there with again. I mean, look at the time between Thomas Wang and Neil-Erik Isaacson. Just a little bit of background in the qualifying. Neil-Erik Isaacson really struggled in the first half of their qualifying sessions for the Pro and the Pro-Ams, and nearly didn't set a time. I was watching him in the qualifying, and he took a lot of laps to try and get it done. He was constantly trying to spin out down into turn number 3, as I was saying. He was constantly spinning out there. Managed to hook a lap up together to get back into his usual second place on the grid over his teammate Thomas Wenger. But it's going to be an interesting one overall between them two. We've seen him having some epic battles, and it's going to be interesting to see if Daniel, who seems to be the main rival to these two guys, to be able to get the position done. But looking further back in the Pro-Am, Kim-Andre Bortland's had a great qualifying sessions, put himself on pole in that very competitive Pro-Am field. So it's going to be interesting to see again in that Pro-Am where it is. I'm expecting the gravy train, as we come to call it, in this race going through with all them Pro-Ams just following each other. But like you say, it's going to be extremely hard to be able to make any passing moves. Then it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, we've watched, we've been watching an eye on the driver chat and things, and obviously us putting information through on race control, and a lot of the people have been mentioning how much practice they've actually done for this race. Thomas Wangan was mentioning that he's done 700 plus laps just to be able to set his fastest time. And he's what Niels Erik Isaacson has picked him by, is that 1,000th of a second?
That's currently in the practice session. This is the practice.
Oh, in practice, but still,
super close.
It's it's super close. It just shows the pace of the IGL coatings boys, and I know a lot of the folks have been putting in a heck of a lot of time behind the wheel to get decent starts now. So you can feel the drivers that they're getting a bit tense. They're realizing that drop rounds have been applied. They've not got those many opportunities as they had before to get a leap on that championship. So they're all pushing as hard as they possibly can now, and the racing starts to get more tense as it goes.
It is going to be, and then another intriguing battle is we're watching Tom Savage at the moment. Does have a healthy lead at the top of the AMS, but himself and Simeon are locked in a battle at the moment. And the story of qualifying again is Simeon has managed to put it on pole, but Tom Savage showed his pace on the last lap. Just crossed the line after the qualifying session had ended, but put in the fastest lap in the AMS of a 1:19. So it's going to be an interesting race again with both of those two at the top of the standings to be able to have another epic battle out on track. So Simeon has got a lot of ground to make up. If the penalty is upheld, then it's 15 points. If the penalty is reversed, it might get less, or it might close that gap. But 15 points in a championship where points are not massively different in the rounds, the only way to really gain some extra points is probably in the endurance rounds, which we've got 2 of coming up. But at the moment, those two are very much locked in a battle over the AMS. Looking further back then in the rookie class, do we have anybody out on field? We don't at the moment in the rookie class, but that's another one that's interesting. So Nicholas Gronstrom was leading last time. He would have been leading going into this round if it wasn't for the level 3 penalty he received last time out for an ambitious move going down Ravazza in Imola. But he is still well within shot. Sam Curran is currently your leader in the rookie class, and then you got Paul Joseph Cliss in third, the ever faithful just Mr. Consistent on there. So there's battles throughout every single class, and then you've got the midfield battles as well, which in that Pro-Am field is absolutely epic. In the Anfield is epic as well. So there's so much racing on track, and it's good to see that nobody's absolutely running away with it. And that's probably down to the point system that we have here in the Performance League.
Yeah, also the qualification system that we have is is quite interesting. You were just mentioning about Tom Savage. So if people are new to the channel and they don't understand how our qualification works, the Pro and Pro-Ams get roughly, it's meant to be 13 to 14 minutes of practice each, of qualifying each, sorry. So the Pros will go out as a Pro, and Pro-Am will go out as a pack together. They will do their laps. We then do an announcement over race control to say that their time has now ended, but they are allowed to complete the lap they're on. So we've had a bit of controversy because Tom Savage actually ended up going over the line after that call had been made, and then setting a lap that was then the P1 time. So we've had a bit of a shake-up in the chat where, obviously that is against the rules. It's not something that we like to see, but there was a slight miscommunication error between his headphones and race control. So, but unfortunately, it's going to have knocked him down the qualification ranks. So, and then after the Pro and Pro-Am boys are done, we then have obviously the AMs and rookies. They go out, set their times, and then they're also able to complete their laps. So it's a slightly different way of doing qualifying. We don't want to be the same as everybody else. We want to try and have our own system. And it does seem to work quite well for the classes, because you don't want to mix up, pros and pro-ams with AMs and rookies on the track at the same time, especially somewhere with this type of track design and length of lap.
100%, and then the grid is made up from them qualifying sessions and their place within the categories. So even if you're a pro-am and you're well up in the orders, you'll still be gridded with your class. So then it makes for fun racing straight away. You're racing all your competitors around you. It's worked really well this season and last season. I'm just hoping I got the grid right just before, because I literally finished the grid just before the time was up. So fingers crossed that the grid is all right for the AMs and the rookies. But currently I've got 50 seconds left before we go into a little bit of racing. Tom, what's your predictions here tonight for each of the classes? Go on, put yourself on the spot.
I think Niels Erik Isaacson is going to win this one. I think Thomas Wangen is going to have to run out of luck very soon, because he's had, untold amounts of luck and skill whole season. I'd like to see Simeon Moldeklev win in his class. I'd like to see Michael Hooper win, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. And I'd like to see, let's have a little think here. Torben Melee. I'd like to see Torben Melee for Sim Racing Norway Black. Get a home crowd winner on the podium.
Definitely is. So there's Tom's predictions. Let's see how well he predicts them by the
end of the race. They're never right. They're never right.
Definitely. But that is the end of the free practice session as we go into the grid. So we'll just wait for the drivers to start gridding up. Let's have a look and see if we can bring it up. And where are the pros?
They are on the grid.
That's a bit strange. Let's see if we can get this grid showing correctly. Yeah. There we go. And in pole position, it's Thomas Wangen with Niels Erik Isaacson second alongside him in the grid. Iracing Mantis in third, his best qualifying position of the year, with Lars Sorensen in fourth, with Daniel Secchi in fifth. Cassia Larkson in sixth, with Michael Hooper in seventh.
And in the Pro-Ams, we've got Kim-Andre Borklin sitting on pole. In second, we've got Lee King McGee, not quite where the AKM Racing driver would like to be. We've got Christopher Otterholt sitting third, James Logson sitting fourth. And if Andy moves the grid down for me, thank you, Andy. We've got John O'Cook for Performance Link, Matt Getstrom back in P6, Sander Island in P7, Alexander Scorette in P8, Michael Goff in P9, Russ Fowler P10, Zach Lawson in 11th, and Casper Tunstead in 12th.
In the arms, we've got Simeon Moldeklev on pole position, Alte Rudd in second place, Tom Savage in third, Sammy Hendricks in fourth, Gordon Hagen fifth, Stefan Anderson in sixth, Shamarpon Asavon in seventh, with Jimmy Vark in eighth. In the rookies, we've got Alan Sandergaard, Paul Joseph Clist, and Torbe Melee rounding out the rookie field. So the rookie field quite low today in there, but we're just starting to get the drivers on the way out as they come down the hill here to turn number 3. You can sort of see the difference in altitude and how much this track drops off coming down here into the third corner. So it's going to be an interesting race on where we this corner here, especially, I think, on that opening lap, Tom, is going to be a tricky one with the cold tyres.
Yeah, it's I'd half expected snow with it being Norway, but they haven't figured that out in iRacing yet, so we're still waiting on rain. Everyone's waiting for that to happen. But yeah, the cold tyres with the new tyre model, or new-ish tyre model, is going to be it's definitely going to be an issue here. So, but sitting up at the front with the pros here, I doubt many of them will have too many issues, and they'll be able to keep it on track.
I'm pretty sure they will be as they start coming around to the end, and it's all going to be down to Thomas Wang in his usual position in pole position. You can see the RGO coatings all around in that field out on track as they come around. Relatively, like you said, a shorter field than we're used to here out there. Still plenty of drivers, 30 drivers in total here, so probably a good number for this track, being that it's quite short and quite technical, and the least amount of cars probably promotes the least amount of incidents, you would have thought. But let's have a ride on board with Iracing Mantis' best position in third place, and we'll just watch the start of this pro field on board with Arias, just to see the perspective of the driver coming around. So they're coming around turn number 14 now, so it's all under Thomas Wangen to get this race underway as they go. And Thomas Wangen gets a good start. Neil Erik Isaacson again alongside him. It's the joys of having the teammates, and Arish Lamantis just lost third place overall to Lars Sorensen in. So we got Nigel Coatins as we look further back with the Pro Anfield. Kim-Andre Borkler still remaining in that position. The only mover there is John O'Cook moving up to fourth, one place. Sander Islands moved up one place as well as we look further back to the Anfield. Oh, as we got a spinner there around turn number 1. Didn't quite see who that was. It was Alexander Scaret. So Simeon Molker managed to get out. Tom Savage still in second place with Gordon Haig in third and Sammy Hendricks in fourth place. And looking further back, we've got the three-car rookies today. Alan Sandergaard, Paul Joseph Klist and Torben Merle in the rookie field. So some good points are going to be scored by them guys overall in this race as we join back up with the leaders. Thomas Wangen leading out this first lap here as they come down that treacherous turn number 3, going back up the hill to turn number 4 and then start going through a very tight and twisty sort of S's section on the track as coming around to complete the first lap here. We do have Ketiel Larsen as well. He's been involved in an incident, managed to get it back out on track, is now mixed in with the Pro-Am field. Currently the third car in that Pro-Am train. Kim-Andre Borkler still leading, Lee King-McGee in second. But a relatively safe opening lap there, Tom.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised to see one spinner. You know, a bit of a shame for Alexander Scaret there, but you know, these guys have been driving for a long time. The amount of practice that everyone's done on this track so far, I'm not surprised that we haven't seen too many. You know, we haven't seen a lot of incidents. So good driving by all the guys out there so far. But as time goes along, and as we always know, Andy, things never go the way you want in racing.
No, they certainly don't. As we look, as we got a spinner there, that is Kim-Andre Borkland on number 1 in the pro field. The Pro-Am field has had a spin here out and he is all the way down into 10th place. So Lee King-McGee has taken over as the race leader in that Pro-Am field. And let's have a look to see what happened to Kim-Andre Borkland. So coming around, just trying to look where that is. It's coming down here into turn number 3. Is this one of the first victims here of that turn number 3 coming around? Yep, its back end started kicking out. You can just see how much that car bounces. Didn't cause any damage to his car, but his back end sort of was loose on the way into there. And you can sort of see, we're trying to get a few of the other cars as you come down into that turn number 3. The car just bounces, so you've really got to be gentle on the braking and the throttle through that corner to be able to keep the car. But Kim-Andre Borkland down 9 places to P10th in class.
Yeah, Kim-Andre, it's really unfortunate for him there. I believe that he actually realised he was losing it a long way back off. You know, he didn't send it in too deep or anything, or try and keep the momentum of the car. He realised it was getting too much additional rotation. Thought it was best to just apply the brakes, slide out, and then get back on track without causing too many incidents. So, you know, unfortunately, joining the track with Russ Fowler right behind his tailpipe there and trying to apply a bit of pressure. But as we can see now live on track, Russ is falling back a bit there in the Audi, unfortunately.
Definitely is, as we'll get the standards up. So we're 3 minutes 40 into this hour and 10-minute race, and we've had a few of the big ones. I suppose Kim-Andre Borkland, he was trying to get some valuable points back in that Pro-Am field, but it's just so competitive, that Pro-Am field, that one mistake sees you from leading the race down into currently P10th in class, P17th overall, and Kim's got it all to do again. But we certainly showed his pace in the qualifying session, but like we were saying, it's such a hard track to make them passing opportunities tell. That it's going to be a hard day at the office, I think.
Yeah, one thing I haven't noticed, Andy, our pole sitter in the AM class, Simeon Moldeklev, I've noticed he's now actually been bumped down to P2 with Gordon Haig taking the first place spot there. So interesting there that Simeon's, he's been putting in a lot of practice on this track, but luckily for him, it's only his Sim Racing Norway teammate, and maybe that's a bit of team orders. Let him through and, take a bit of slipstream, potentially save some fuel and try and push Simeon a little further up into the championship points.
I've just noticed on the timer we've got a big incident going on in the Anfield. Tom Savage has had an incident. So let's have a look and see what happened to Tom. Is this another one of turn number 3? Yes, it is. He loses that back end, saves it, comes back on track, but then loses it again. So that is why Tom Savage has gone down there. And he just can't get on the track, and he spins it again. Oh, no way. Literally in the keep it still, Tom, keep it still, as he's in sort of no man's land now, stuck on the apex of the corner, got to wait to the end, and basically that's him down into P8th overall in the AM. So probably good for the neutral in the championship if Tom doesn't score some good points, but certainly anybody from Team Bearpole will be kicking themselves at the moment. And it's again that turn number 3 that we said, how that car bounces down there. That's another victim. So it's the second victim we do have tonight, but we do have another instance with Jimmy Vart. Let's have a look, see what happened to Jimmy. Jimmy looks like he's having an incident. Oh, is this another one?
Turn 3 again.
You can just see the car bouncing. Oh, I think this may be... Yes, I think this is the incident with his teammate Tom there getting caught up. But, yeah, not always good to hit into one of your teammates, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not preferred, is it? We've seen the IGL Coatings boys actually have had previous incidents on previous rounds where they've actually contacted their own teammates and taken them out of the race. So not ideal for these guys, but they'll get stuck in and they'll try and make their way back up the field. And Tom's a very, very fast driver, so he'll be working his way up as the race continues. So, but as we're watching Gordon Haig here driving the your favourite car, Andy, the Flaming Macca. Doing a bit of justice for the McLaren fans out there today.
Yeah, 100%. This car, I was thinking this car would be quite well suited, the Macca, to this track. It does when I was driving it, I quite like the tight corners and coming out of the corners. It seems to be very quick coming out of the corners. And Gordon's doing it justice here. Currently leading out the way. Only 0.4 of a second over Simeon Rodeklev in second. Sammy Hendricks in third. I'd say Rud in fourth after probably a disastrous at Imola. And we obviously found out what that was with the incident with Olte at the start of the AM grid. But making up for it here, currently in P4th at the moment, and these 4 cars are slightly pulling away from Stefan Andersson in 5th place overall. So there's a bit of a gap of 5.4 seconds starting to open up, but he does have his teammate Shamapon Asavon just behind him in 6th place for a little bit of company there. But this turn number 3, it just seems absolutely treacherous in these cars, and the cars are really struggling to see where they're at. And I think we do have another victim. I'm not sure if it's around turn number 3, but let's have a look at Paul Joseph Clist and see what happened to him. So coming around the corner, let's have a look, see what happens to Paul. Oh no, that is not turn number 3. That is, I think that's turn number 8. Oh, back end just kicks out on that Porsche, and it's just all self-imposed incidents at the moment, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, it's just showing the amount of greasiness and lack of proper grip that's there. So I don't believe the track temp is actually that bad today, but the guy's struggling out there initially, Andy.
They certainly are. We can see there the track temperature is only 18 degrees, so on the relatively cold side, and you would expect that being in Norway. But it's nice cold conditions. The tyre wear won't be excessively high. The only sort of tyre wear will be the way the track's laid out, with the corners being so rounded. So relatively cool track temperatures there of 18 degrees C overall, and I think it's just the nature of this track. It's like you said with the Nordschleife. It's just the way that the track and the different elevation changes on there that really throws off the balance of these cars. Certainly that first half when you come out of turn number 2 all the way down to when you come into turn number 9, when it starts to flatten out slightly before you come back onto the start finish straight, coming through the last section between 11, 12, 13 and 14. But that 14th as well must seem like an eternity for the drivers when they come around that corner, because it's just so long and you've really got to just hold off, and I think that's the difference between the really fast times, and the mediocre times, is understanding where to get back onto the throttle on some of these corners.
Yeah, also managing trail braking as we're watching Thomas Wangen here in P1, where he's pretty much been all season. So, it's managing the amount of brake you're applying as you're pitching yourself into the corners. So, a lot of these cars create a lot of additional rotation on the down changes. So, you can be braking, getting a nice bit of rotation, but as soon as you hit that down change, that can be just enough to lose the grip on the rear end, lock up the rear wheels, and next thing you know, you're spinning and having a bad day at the office.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that should be his Cam in the bottom right-hand corner, but obviously he must be having some problems. But what is interesting, you can see his dash that he has just above his cockpit. If you've been watching the pit stops where we've had Thomas on, and obviously the previous streams we had his webcam, just above his steering wheel, he's got another small screen, and I'm pretty sure that's what we're looking at here, telling all the information he has. So he has a plethora of information at hand, and he always knows where he currently is, how much fuel he's got left, and where he is. So his management of the track situations this season has been immense, and that's probably helped him get to where he currently is as the top pro driver in season 2 of the Performance Link GT3 Cup.
Yeah, currently he's sitting well out there in the points as well. So he's on his way to earning a nice bit of cash prize if he brings it home this season. So that's one nice thing about our series. We offer cash prizes. We don't want to give away anything too flimsy. We want to make sure if the guys put the time in, put the effort in, they're going to win a bit of cash in their back pocket. So as we're riding on board with Daniel Sedgley here from the Olympus Esports Redstone team, he's got Lee King McGee in front of him. Obviously, this is a pro driver coming up on a Pro-Am, with Lee King up in the very, very front of his class. Is Daniel Sedgley going to apply some pressure and expect an overtake here under the blue flag conditions?
Yeah, so Lee King McGee is flying high at the moment and mixing up very much with the pros. We're currently, like you said, on board with Daniel. We got Michael Hooper just been in front of him, who he is fighting for position. But Lee King McGee has certainly come on storms. First season out in the Performance Link GT3 Cups, and he's having an exceptional season. Wasn't probably expecting to be at the top of the Pro-Ams, but certainly has had the pace through there. I mean, unfortunately for James Logston, who's currently down in P4th, had a pretty bad endurance round. He was leading the way in the opening 4 rounds. Then we had the first endurance round where he pretty much didn't do well. Let's just put it bluntly. He didn't do well in that round. Didn't score the points. And obviously the points for these rounds, the difference between first and second is only sort of like 1, and then it cascades down from there, being 15th for the win. But the endurance rounds, which are double this period 2-hour races, or just under double these race periods, are like double the points. So that's really where you can gain a lot of points out on track. And James was down in around about 4th position, but has certainly come back strong, and we expect that of James, an extremely accomplished driver in season 1, and we were high hopes for him to probably take the Pro-Am field here in the second race. But that is one of the IGL Coatings teams that's just come off. I think that was Ketiel Larson. Let's have a look.
Yes, it was. It looks like he might have even potentially flat spotted a tyre there. The rear end seems awfully loose on that car. I noticed as well that Lee King McGee, he's actually had Michael Hooper go past him now, so he's in a bit of a pro sandwich. But yeah, Ketiel Larson just making a bit of a mistake, not very common from that the IGL Coatings driver. So this team seems to be awfully solid, and they don't make too many mistakes out on track, Andy.
No, they don't. As we look further back into the Anfield, so looking back at this train, we've got Gordon Haig at the moment leading it, Simeon Motorclef in second, Sammy Hendricks in first, and we're currently watching, I'll say, Rud in 4th overall. So this Anfield extremely close. You can see in the timing tower how close these drivers are to each other, and certainly going to be some added spiciness in that Anfield at the moment. The Pro-Am field, yes, we do have, we've got around about a 4 or 5 car train, so we can have a look here at Michael Goff, currently in P7th in that Pro-Am. As Daniel Sedgley has had an incident. He's piled down the timing tower. We'll bring you shortly what happened. In fact, let's have a look. I think he went off track again. So this is what happened to Daniel just a moment ago. Coming through the S's here, through turns 5, 6, and 7. Comes up to the top. Does the car just kick out? No, it's not coming up yet. Where's he go? Oh, there he goes.
Oh,
just got on that power a little bit. Oh, no, and then hit the barrier. That is going to be a trip back to the pits for Daniel.
Yeah, unfortunately, the rear end of his car just got uncharacteristically loose. I mean, I thought it was going to be something with him taking the curbs as savagely as he was, because he was using all the available track. But you know, the BMW, it's just showing that it's not the perfect car on this track tonight, Andy.
It's not. Done exceptionally well in the qualifying, but seems to be struggling slightly during the race. Same with the Mercedes. We've seen the Mercedes be super strong overall. We've seen Tom Savage, you know, do exceptional things in that Mercedes, but unfortunately, it's had an incident. We've seen a couple of the RGL coatings in the Mercedes, Ketu Larson, having incidents as well. So the stability in when the tyres start to wear ever so slightly are starting to come into play here. And this is maybe where you're saying the Audi with its four-wheel drive, the Porsche, you know, with its excellent braking and corner exit speeds, you know, could come into play a little bit more. But it's certainly interesting out on track, and it's going to be a long war of attrition, I think, for many of these BMW drivers when it comes to the round of pit stops to decide what they're going to do, because we normally don't see drivers taking 4 tyres, but this may be one of them tracks that they might have to.
Yeah, tyre wear around here is going to be quite severe, you know, especially if the guys are flat spotting this early on in the race. I mean, the tyres will be up to temperature. There's no doubt about that at the moment, but it's uncharacteristic to see this many incidents from so many of the top drivers on our grid at the moment. You know, as we're following Michael Hooper here in his Porsche with the Team Bear Pope, running that beautiful red and white Japanese-inspired livery there. Michael Hooper, you know, he's another driver that's been very decent. Season 1, he was one of our top drivers, and we even had high hopes for him in the pros this season after being bumped up. But unfortunate round 1 at Circuit de Villeneuve, where he span in the very first corner, and he just very uncharacteristically, and he had to wave the whole field goodbye.
Yeah, it wasn't really even the first corner. It wasn't the first bend. It was the bend, but it was the Wall of Champions before the start-finish line. We saw Michael spin. He's had a bit of a torrid time at the start of this season, but seems to be gaining a little bit of form now, which is good to see, because we know that Michael, certainly in that first season, if all our viewers watched him, was basically very much at the top and even fighting a lot of the pros for the wins, himself and Patrick Thompson, which unfortunately he couldn't have been here, so I'm pretty sure those two would have been having a really good battle. But maybe we can get Patrick and Michael back on track for season 3 when it comes out. Yeah, at the moment, currently in P5th, 1.9 seconds behind Arius Mantis in 4th. But let's give you a rundown of the classes at the moment. So in the lead, we got Thomas Wangen, 0.7 to his teammate Neil Eric Isaacson in 2nd and 3rd. We've got Lance Sorensen and Arius Mantis with Michael Hooper rounding out your top 5. Lee King McKee leads out of the way in the Pro-Ams at the moment. Christopher Otto 3 seconds behind. So Lee starting to pull out a little bit of a gap and starting to put Michael under a little bit of pressure there in 4th place. Christian Otto in 2nd place, followed by our very own Jonathan Cook in 8th, 1.8 seconds, with James Logston back in 4th in class overall, with the start of the train between himself, Sander Island, Matt Ginstrom back in, Michael Goff and Ketil Larson as the pro driver there we've just seen come off in P13th. Looking further back, Gordon Haig leads out your Amfield in the Macca. Currently 0.7 of a second between the Am train that's just behind him. Simeon Moldeklev, Sammy Hendrick, Casper Tungsten's just in that battle there in the Porsche with Alte Rudd there as well. So the top 4 of the AMs are extremely close. And let's have a look back at our free running rookies. Alan Sandergaard does have that leading position in this champion in the rookie class at the moment. Paul Joseph Kliss has got the 2nd, with Torben Melle rounding out your top 3 at the moment. And it's good to see Torben had pretty much of a torrid time, I think, at Imola. in his own estimations, and really felt that quite hard. So for him to get a P3 overall here, get some decent points, start moving himself up that ladder in the rookie field, it's a decent sized rookie field. It's just unfortunate we haven't got the drivers here tonight, but the ones that are here are really going to be profiting with a lot of points, as you see there. Torben just getting out of the way of some of the field coming through. Yeah, I think that's the Anfield that's literally just gone through the battle that we were watching. But Torben Mele just going around and going to get some decent points out on track. So good luck for yourself, Torben. And he's driving the Macca as well. So he's very much learning. And it's like I would say to anybody who's watching this thinking, well, why is he on track? He's on track to learn. Everybody starts somewhere in the league racing. And with doing league racing, which is a lot better than the iRacing, you start gaining confidence. So I'm expecting Torben to be a lot better going into season 3 and then into season 4. And by that time, he'll be starting to vie for the championship, because you just can't buy experience of proper league racing.
Yeah, one thing you find is, it's racecraft, isn't it? It's the biggest thing that you have to learn, and you have to learn it over time. So understanding when to let people by, when to attack, when to take it easy. It's all it's all a craft that you do have to learn just by getting on track and actually putting the laps in. So as we're riding on board here with Michael Goff from the AKM Racing UK boys, currently sitting P12th overall. Got Mats Gangstrom back in front of him, the IGL Coatings BMW there. He's actually looking to apply a little bit of pressure here. That Porsche is awfully good on the brakes, isn't it? Gosh, really, really starting to keep up now on the back of that BMW. The BMW looking loose again there, Andy. It's not paying off well for the Beamer so far.
No, it's definitely not. It does seem to be getting extremely loose, and probably around a track that you really need a stable car. It's not going to be good, and we've already seen a few incidents involving the BMW out on track. But just going to have a look back for some more races. So Simeon Motorclev at the moment is probably rubbing his hands, and it just needs to be concerted and consistent of where he gets his points. He's currently sat in P2 in that Anfield behind his teammate, so has got that respect for his teammate who's sat in front of him, Gordon Haig, and his main rival at the moment, Tom Savage. I'm just having a look to see where he is. Currently P7th in the Anfield, so a little bit off the standings, and this will be some vital points.
Another spinner.
That is Zach. Oh no, and he hits Simeon. Oh no. That was Zach Lawson there. And he gets another one from Casper into the wall. Oh no, just as we were saying, thinking that was a bit of commentator curse there. Oh no, because Simeon really needs to score well here to gain some of that advantage over Tom. Will we see him in there, or can he? Let's have a ride on board. And let's have a listen to that car to see if... Oh, I think he's
steering damage.
Steering damage.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is terrible. It's not the end of the world. He can come in, get his fuel. He's quite close to the pits as it is now, so he'll probably dive in, have his pit stop early, get that car repaired, and then he'll be able to go to the end of the race on this. But this is not really what Simeon wanted, and that was just looked like an unfortunate. Let's have a look back at that accident that was initially started by Zach Lawson, coming down again into turn 3, going extremely wide, losing the car, coming around, trying to stop the car, and unfortunately just got into the front there. And I think that's Sammy Hendricks as well, the AM207 there, that's another victim of that unfortunate incident. But it's just not good when that sort of happens, as you see Simeon in the pit lane. He should be doing his pit stop now as well, hence why he is probably still in. But let's hope he's clicked that fast repair out on track, and he'll be back in the race. But at the moment, he is our first pit lane as he just comes out the pits. So he is coming down the pit lane. Let's just look at him there. Yes, nicely fresh repaired car. Hopefully he's refueled and changed his tyres for the rest of the race, and he shouldn't have to pit again in there. Currently down in P8th in the AM field, so going from 2nd down to 8th. We need to stop commentating curse people, I think, Tom.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, but he's driving the BMW, and we have said the BMW is going to be it's going to be one that bites back this round. So very interesting track surface here. We're not seeing that normal grip and that normal bite that you get from a lot of the other circuits. So I don't know if there's a bit of a bit of something about this track in particular that's not got a grippy track surface, or it's not one that I've driven very often. So, and I've driven most of them, and it's unfortunate that it's just biting some of the drivers today. So, but with Simi in that unbelievably unfortunate event there, it's not his fault. Someone spins in front of you, what can you do? And as we saw, Zach, he tried to stamp on the brakes as quick as he could and stay still, but on that apex around such a tight corner, which has already claimed a few victims, he tried his best to stay still, but unfortunately he's collected one of the front runners for the Pro-Am field there.
He certainly has, and Gordon Haig has profited from that incident at the moment. He is currently around about 5.3 seconds ahead of Alte Rudd, who's in second place in that AM field. So at the moment, he's got a sizable lead as Gordon. So the pressure that was being applied behind him has sort of been negated by Zach's unfortunate incident coming down through to turn number 3, an extremely treacherous corner, like I said. And I think the problem is, Tom, is if you think of this as like a mini Nordschleifer that you mentioned, that Nordschleifer can really bite back, and the grip on that is very slippery, and you've really got to know the track, I suppose. And this track is similar. I'll probably say it's a lot less harsh than probably the Nordschleifer is, but that change in elevation that we go, as we can see, going up and then coming down here into turn 3, you can just see it. The track just drops away, and going around this corner, you can see the car bouncing there, and you can just see the brakes just slowly getting applied to get yourself around turn number 3. And that part of the circuit there, coming down into turn 3, like I said in the track guide, is certainly the place at the moment that's catching a lot of the drivers off. But the back end of another thing you mentioned, the back end of them BMWs does seem to be a little bit loose as this race is going on. Currently 26 minutes, nearly 27 minutes into this hour and 10 race, and seen plenty of incidents already out on track.
Yeah, the BMW, it's the doer of all, isn't it? As far as the cars go, it's the one you would pick as a safe bet to get you round and get you home without too many incidents. So, one nice thing about this is obviously they've all got different abilities. I was watching James Logston on board here. Looks like Sander Island coming up right behind him. Is he going to push the nose down the inside? He's looking for it. He's going down the inside. He's going to cut that apex nice and tight. But unfortunately, the Bear Porsche there just having enough power and not allowing the BMW behind to go around the outside. So, good defending there by James Logston, and unfortunately not a pass of the BMW this time round.
It just shows that the BMW does have some advantages around this over the Porsche on that very limited start-finish straight. So you just saw the slipstream effect there. But unfortunately, you've really got to be alongside the car going into that first corner, because trying to cut that first corner, you're cutting off the rest of the track, so you're going to naturally be slower. But certainly at the moment, James Logden does have a big queue of Pro-Ams behind me. You can see there in the timing tower, Sander Iron, Matt Genstrenbacken, who has been moved down from the Pros to the Pro-Ams to give him a little bit more better racing out on track. And then you've got Michael Goff of AKM Racing, who's literally just at the back of this train there. You can sort of spot that red, white and blue BMW, but certainly at the moment the Porsche is leading out the BMWs in this mini battle in the Pro-Ams.
Yeah, it's the Pro-Am field, as we've been saying before, for people that are joining us new, for watching us on the YouTube channel, the Pro-Am battle has been awfully tight this season. Just simply the amount of talent we've had in this season. So I'll jump on board here with our own Performance Link Esports driver, Russ Fowler. Not having the best day, sitting 17th overall. He used to be the Mercedes champion, didn't he? Oh, as he's looking, no, he's not going to quite got the inside of the Porsche there. But Russ has had a mixed bag since joining with the Audi. He was the Mercedes GT3 sort of go-to guy, and he had the ability to, well, he's faster than I was, that's for sure, in the Mercedes. It seemed to be his go-to car, and as he pushes in a little rub-in for racing, fantastic move up the inside there on the exit of turn 3. He's managed to work his way in front of the Porsche, and the Audi's showing its strengths there under brakes, Andy.
Who said you can't pass on this course? That was a great passing opportunity there coming through turn number 3 and 4. So got that car planted. And like we said, that four-wheel drive really coming into effect there for us to be able to get that car stable enough to undercut the Porsche of Casper, just running behind him. So that was a position gain there from Russ. But I think the thing with Russ, obviously, he was a die-hard Mercedes driver, never drove any other GT3 car. Decided it wasn't for him in this championship, and he probably thought he'll try something new. Recently moved across to the Audi, and I think he's still trying to get to grips with it. But once he tackles it and sees the different nuances between the Audi and the Mercedes, I'm pretty sure he's going to be back up on par again. So it may take him to probably the end of the season, and then they'll probably do another bop change where the Audi gets savagely bopped, and he'll probably end up changing his car again. But at the moment, not doing too bad. P16th, P9th overall in that extremely competitive Pro-Am field. But looks like we do have another incident, actually. Let's have a look at this one. This is our very Jimmy Vark here in the Audi. I think that is turn number 3, coming through 4, going back up the hill to 5. Oh, the back end just slipped away. I mean, it's the setups these guys are using are their own setup, so it's not a fixed setup that the cars are using out on track. So it depends what people have set the cars at. Have they set it down to too much of a low downforce setting? I would say this track, with the turns and the corners that it does have, probably more suit a mid to high downforce setup to be able to get the speed into the corners here. But it's going to be interesting to see what each one of the different drivers have decided to choose out on track. And oh no, it looks like, let's have a look. Simeon Motorcloud had another incident here. So literally just come out of the pits after a repair. Who's that? He's behind. So that is is that Michael Hooper coming down into turn number 3? Oh, just goes extremely wide. Luckily not a crash, but just completely misjudged that corner. But managed to get back up on track. No damage done, and still carry on. Maybe just a little dent to his pride.
Yeah, he did the lesser of two evils there, didn't he? Do you try and save it and have a spin in turn 3, or do you just run wide and use the runoff area there? So, best thing to do that he did, exactly as most people would do. Just take it steady, don't lose the rear end of the car, don't have a collision, and just try and keep going. So, as we're jumping on board now with Iracing, another driver that's had a bit of a mixed bag this season. He's not he's been very racy, but he's not really had too many clean races. We've seen him spin out numerous times, and he's he's had to work his way up the field. But finding his feet here at this track in Norway, and giving that BMW a good pasting, actually found his way up into P4 in the Pro category so far.
Yeah, he has. We've had a few incidents in that Pro category. Kettle Larson finds his way down into P14th, 6th overall in class. And I think Daniel said it is out of the race as well after that earlier incident we saw of him as well. So I think he is our first retiree in that Pro category. Let's have a look, see if he is. Yes, I think, yes, he has gone. I think he's decided to call it a day, has Thomas Wangen here. Currently in our lead, 3.5 seconds ahead of his teammate. We normally see his teammate sort of glued to the back bumper, but not here today. Thomas Wangen getting out in front and getting a gap. You can see the gap there as Neil Isaacson comes around the last corner. 3.5 seconds. Then another big gap to his other teammate, Lance Sorensen, who's currently in 3rd. And it's good to see Lass in that 3rd spot. You know, he's extremely good at the qualifying, but seems to sort of fall away in the race. So hopefully he can score some decent points here in 3rd place overall. But that's an IGL Coatings by Sunday Traffic Skull 1, 2 and 3 overall in this race in the Pro. But look who's in 5th 4th place overall, up 5 places. Lee King McGee of AKM Racing at the moment dominating this Pro-Am field. You can see there the gap round about 5 to 6 seconds at the moment is the gap between Lee King McGee and Christopher Otterholt in 7th place overall, 2nd in that Pro-Am field. But having a great race, and he is currently leading out the way in that Pro-Am field, and this will only solidify that position at the top. It was relatively close. I think it's around about 3 points the difference between 1st and 2nd, but if he keeps going on the way he's going, he's going to be extending that lead here today, and going to be the one to chase down in that Pro-Am field, Tom.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic run so far in the season. He did have an awfully bad incident at Road America, it was, I believe, where he got bumped and he unfortunately didn't get that podium win. So it was bad at the office there for him. But today he's he's flying the colours strong for the AKM Racing team and pulling away, mixing it up really strongly in the middle of that pro field. As we're riding on board here with James Logsdon in the Team Bearpoke Porsche, he's got a bit of a train behind him. He's got Sander Run and Max Gamstrenbacher sitting right behind him, but that Porsche stretching its legs on the straight, it doesn't seem to have too much pain coming from the BMW behind, which is quite strange. You know, the BMW on the straights, especially at this track, it does have that ability to close the gap and potentially send it down the inside. But maybe the guys are realizing that the braking ability of that Porsche GT3 is absolutely phenomenal, and it's not allowing the BMW to close and push up on the inside.
As if we don't yield to our viewers here, let's have a look at the Kim, Andre Borkland and Michael Goff crash here. Let's have a look and see what happened. So there's Kim just behind Michael. Is this again coming down into turn 3? Is this a wayward car from somebody? Let's have a look what happened. So Kim tried to go up the inside, lost it on the inside, and just clipped Michael coming on the outside. So that was an opportunity for a passing move, trying something different, but coming down into that turn number 3, it's a bit treacherous when it comes in. You can see there, Paul Joseph Cliss just flashing Kim Andre Borkland to say, you've just come off track, mate, let me pass. But Kim will be back on the pace at the moment. But an easy mistake to do, and again, that turn number 3.
Yeah, turn number 3 in the BMW. We couldn't have called it any different, could we? So it's unfortunate for Kim there. He had a bit of a bad run last week at Imola as well, Andy. He had a slid into the side of Tom Savage. A penalty was put in against him for that incident, and after going to our appeals panel, it did actually get overturned. So will he be so lucky with this one? I don't think so on that occasion. So bit of a shame to throw it down the inside on turn 3, but it's racing at the end of the day, and sometimes you've got to send it to get the moves done. Yeah,
it's a bit unfortunate that the back end obviously slid out on the BMW. We saw how to do it with Russ Fowler getting past Casper just a little bit earlier on track, but unfortunately that BMW, just the back end just stepped out and unfortunately hit Michael. So yeah, probably is one we're going to look at on the pit stop midweek. But James Logsdon, he is probably going to be the main challenger to Lee King McGee in that Pro-Am field. Did have an incident at the start of the field, got to the back of the field, but has managed to make his way back up. Currently in P4th in that Pro-Am field. So really needs to make sure that he tries to get to that 2nd place. But you can see the gap at the moment, 8.2 seconds between John O'Cook in 8th, and then another around about 8.5 seconds to Christopher Otterholt in 7th. But if there's anybody that can, it's probably James that can do it. We saw some excellent racing and his speed out in season 1. So he's got a tall order to try and do, but it's still plenty of time to get that done. Just over 32 minutes left of this race to go, and we've got the all-important and often dreaded probably pit stops going to be going on in there. But let's have a look. And oh no, just having a look in the timing tower, and I think we've got another crash here.
Yeah, I was watching on board with Iracing. Oh, it's not another turn 3 incident in the BMW, is it? As we're coming down, Iracing getting on the brakes. Look at the bumps and undulations there, pushing the car around. Yeah, the rotation's just not happening today for the BMW, and does a fantastic drift there to save it. But yeah, the BMW is coming. It's not coming into its own on this track tonight, and now unfortunately put a lot of pressure from the Christopher Otterholt IGL Coatings BMW behind him. So unfortunate for Arias there, but he'll get it back on track and keep tracking along.
Yeah, it certainly is, and BMWs are really suffering down that turn number 3. There's so many incidents we've seen, and they've all been sort of centered. It's like the epicenter of the crash on RUDSKOGEN here is turn number 3, and the BMW's certainly not enjoying that corner at all. We've seen quite a few incidents coming down and just on the exit through turn number 4 for the BMW. So just need to probably take it a little bit to but it's also all about making sure that you're not giving it too much beans around this corner here, and just making sure you've got the car planted. Like you were mentioning, you can just see how much the car's bobbing around when it's coming down into there, and we all know if a car's bobbing around and you put too much brake pressure on there, that car will spin out. But that is that. So we're just joined back here with Alte Rudd, currently in P2 in that AM. Is right on the back of this battle for the Pro-Am field between Michael Goff, Kim-Andre Borkland and Russ Fowler. The 3 cars just in front of him. So Alte Rudd, after his probably difficult start to the season, starting to find a little bit of form here in the second half of season 2, and it's great to see new drivers that maybe struggling at the start of the season starting to find their feet a little bit within the league and starting to push on, and then start to get the results that they probably feel that's justified to themselves. So good to see Alte Rudd at the moment in P2. Probably a bit fortunate with that Zach Lawson incident that we saw earlier on, probably impacting 2 of the rivals that were around him, but that's racing at the end of the day. Sometimes you get the luck and sometimes you don't, and at the moment Alte has got that look here at this track, and is currently riding high in P2.
Yeah, he's doing fantastically well so far. It's one of his, one of, if not his best result the whole season. So he's doing very well in the BMW and managing to keep on track. I don't want to say anything as he goes around turn 3. We'll just let him get through there. Yeah, perfect. I didn't want to give him the commentator's curse, but looking at the lap times he's run, he's actually done a 1:20.4 as his best lap, and that is actually equivalent to the leader in the Pro-Am field. So. Showing that he's got some pace in the BMW, but finding himself stuck now behind the train of Russ Fowler, Kim-Andre Borkland, and Michael Goff, Andy.
Yeah, but I suppose that's not a bad thing in itself, because he'll be getting pulled along. He'll have the slipstream from Russ, the Audi, in front of him, and he can follow the lines of the faster class. So hence why is hopefully his times will start to improve as he goes lap on lap, and it's a good opportunity here to pull himself back into Gordon Haig. We can watch on Gordon here just getting out of the way of one of the pro drivers, Kjetil Larsen here, probably just to try and tuck up behind him to give him a little bit of slipstream to follow on behind, because I'm just looking back at the time difference. I think it was around about 5.5 seconds that Gordon did have. I think it's around about the same as it is still, around about 5 seconds to second place, but it's always nice to follow another car around the track as long as he doesn't spin off.
Yeah, and the McLaren looking nice and planted today. It's not suffering from the dreaded high-speed corner, loose rear end sort of death move that it can give you at times. So, if you want to find a track and find a car setup never to drive, it's the McLaren Ram Watkins Glen, because it really does show you where the weaknesses are on this car. But it's always got that good turning, that initial grip on the front end. It sort of promotes a slight hint of oversteer, and it really gives you that turning you need on such a tight circuit like this one. But one car I'm not going to be surprised to see have troubles in the later part of this race is going to be the Porsche. Actually, it does suffer from a lot of understeer, so it's going to be interesting to see how the cars handle the later part of this race, especially after stopping and most of the guys probably taking new tyres.
Yeah, definitely is. And Simeon Moklev's race has gone from bad to worse, and it looks like he's had another couple of incidents. Let's have a look. So this would be his 3rd incident, and is it turn number 3 again? I believe so. Oh, the dreaded turn 3 for Simeon is not his corner. Yep, steps out wide. You can sort of see the car already back end. Lost it, spins around. Does he get away with no damage? Yes, he does. Just managed. I think that was Jono there. Jono Cook just narrowly avoiding it. I think he has another incident just up here and literally stops his car and then carries on. Well, that's good sportsmanship, just letting the rest of the drivers through before getting out on track, because his tyres will be overheated with that spin. So just letting through the rest of the field. So well done, Simeon. But his day just goes from bad to worse. I think that's his third incident. I believe they've all been pretty much around turn number 3.
Yeah, turn number 3 showing that it is the corner to try and master around here today at the track in Norway. But unfortunate for Simeon, you know, he's shown good sportsmanship, as you said there, Andy, and kept off track, and he doesn't want to get in anybody's way. And you know, spinning is never a nice thing, and hopefully he can manage that big old flat spot he's going to have on the rear tyres. So as we're riding on board with Paul Joseph Cliss, Mr. PJC for Olympus Esports Arian, driving that beautiful unicorn liveried Porsche there. Paul's doing a decent job so far tonight. It looks like he's actually leading out in front of the rookies tonight, Andy.
Yeah, he is. Alan Sandergaard has gone into the pit, so he is currently in the pits. Just looking at his pit time, he's gone above 43 seconds. So has
still climbing?
Has he been caught in the speed in the pits? So if it's around about 1 minute. Yeah, around about 1 minute 10. It looks like Alan Sandergaard has succumbed to speeding in the pit lane and will relinquish the P1 position to Paul Joseph Clist, who's currently out on track. Always renowned for going super deep into the race before going into the pits. But looking at the pit stop, we've currently got Russ Fowler in the pits. He's just coming out, so he's just coming out of the pits. Stefan Anderson is just coming out of the pits. We got Simeon Moldeklev been in once already. Jimmy Vark, he has pitted as well. Zach Lawson's pitted, and Alan Sandergaard, who is still in that pit. 1 minute and 33 seconds in the pit lane. I mean, he's either not checked his fast repair off, or he's just missed a gear. I don't know. I mean, 1 minute 33. Yeah. That's a long time.
1 minute 33. You know, that's further than that's an entire lap plus 10 seconds, isn't it? That's not what you want to see from the guy that was leading out in the rookie field. So that really has opened the door with with big old arms for Paul Joseph Cliss to look to get a win here in the rookie field. So fantastic result for Paul, but a heck of a bad result there for Alan Sandergaard. I don't see how he's going to make that time up, Andy.
No, not at all. He won't make that time up around this guy, unfortunately. So he's just pretty much handed the win at the moment over to Paul Joseph Clist, who's top. And Torben Mele still in third place. So Alan did get out in front of Torben. But I'm just let's have a look back on Torben, see how far behind he is. Only 1.3 seconds. So literally just behind Alan Sandergaard in that rookie class. And then they are both 58.8 seconds behind Paul Joseph Clist. So, Torben's now got a little bit of a battle on his hand with one of his class members of Alan Sandergaard. Must have had a speed in the pit lane overall. But yeah, let's have a look back in our leader we haven't seen for a while. Thomas Wangen currently in first place, extended his lead to 5.5 seconds. To Neil Erik Isaacson in second. And in third place, we've currently got Lars Sorensen, the final member. The final member in the pro of the IGL E-Racing by Sunday Traffic Skull. So pretty much a podium lockout at the moment at the top of the pros by that IGL team. Looking back at the Pro-Ams, we got Lee King McGee, who is currently still leading out the way in the Pro-Am field. Currently has extended that lead to round about 8 seconds now over Christopher Otterholt in second place. Is extending it is Lee King McGee. Christopher Otterholt currently has 4.1 seconds. So that Pro-Am field has been spread out a little bit. John O'Cook, as we saw, driving the Mercedes. Gotta love his dedication with the teeth on the front of that Mercedes. I'm still trying to think of the of the cartoon, which reminds me of that. I'm trying to think which one it is. I'm sure it'll come to me, but currently in third place in that Pro-Am field, with fourth place being taken by Sander, who has moved up from the Am field from last season and is currently in P4 overall. Looking back at the Anfield, then we've got Gordon Haig in first place. The Macca riding high here at RUDSKOGEN. Currently has a lead. Lead has increased slightly. It's around about 5-6 seconds. So still maintaining that gap over second place. Alte Rud of Team Vikings there. Another striking livery on that car. I love that dragon down the side of that car there. You can see a great picture as watch him again coming down into turn 3. You can just see how much them cars bounce. In third place overall is Tom Savage. After his earlier mishap, has managed to get his way back up into that Anfield. Currently riding in third place, 2.3 seconds behind Alte Rud, who is trying to track down. So the points gap at the moment has been mitigated with the fact that Simeon has had so many incidents here tonight, and the fact that he is gaining time. And has got an opportunity to get second place. I think first place at the moment will be a stretch too far. 20 minutes left in this race to go. Ooh, blimey, that was an unorthodox move. Who was that? That was one. I think that was Simeon, who's literally just got out of the way. So Tom has managed to overtake probably his main rival in the championship of Simeon Motorclev. In fourth place, we got Shamapon Asavon, pretty much having... literally a saunter drive. You can see there 7.4 seconds behind Kim Andre Bortland, around about 9 seconds behind Tom Savage in third, and then has a sizable gap to his nearest rival, Sammy Hendricks, there in 20 seconds. It's probably best part of 40 seconds. But I believe that Sammy has pitted, yes, so he has. So this may come together as soon as Shamapon basically makes his pit stop. But from here upwards, so from P18th to P1, all still owe us a pit stop. So the round of pit stops will be happening very shortly for the top 17 drivers now, as Kim Andre Borkland has gone into the pits.
Yeah, it's a decent result for him at the moment, but as you said, with the pit stops coming into play, it's really going to mix things up. So, with it being such a small track, when some of the leaders in the Pro and Pro-Am field, when they come to make their pit stops, they may end up finding themselves thrown out in a middle pack of quite a few of the Am field, looking at the positions on the track and the fact that most of the Am field have actually done their pit stops now. One of the only ones that hasn't done their pit stop is obviously Gordon Haig for the Sim Racing Norway team. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of pit stop time he puts in, and if it can catch the other guys back in.
Yes, it looks like there's been a big incident out on track. Let's have a look at what happened. Looks involves Kim Andre Bortland, Alan Sandergaard, and Simeon Motorclev. I don't know if this is all a joint incident. So coming through turn number 4, you got Kim Andre Bortland there on the inside. I believe that's Alte Rud. Oh, just spins that slightly wide. Again, that back end of that BMW really not enjoying this track at all. So that looks like a separate incident on its own. So that's number 1. We got about 4 of them to watch then. So let's have a look at the next one of Alan Sandergaard. Let's see what happened to him. So just mentioning there, he obviously had that extremely large pit stop, so trying to make up a little bit of time. Does his back end just slip down? Is this turn number 14? Yes, it is. Coming down. Oh, yes, it is. He's going to hit the wall.
Oh, awfully long slide there, wasn't it? He tried his best to save it, but that BMW is just showing its absolute weakness here at this track, and it's not something I would have. It's not something I would have believed, really, because as we've mentioned lots of times before, the BMW is the go-to car if you want a bit of stability. So I was watching Alexander Scorette here with he's got a bit of pressure from Atle Red behind. Is he going for that move pass on the AKM Racing car? Yes, he is. He's pushing around the outside, trying to cover the inside line right now and squeeze the AKM Racing car out. He is going to find himself pushing up on the inside, and does he have the pace to get past the fellow BMW? Yes, he does. As they're running side by side into the infamous turn number 3. We're going to find now under the brakes, the AKM Racing car eases off, but is that going to now hurt the IGL Coatings car on the exit? both cars bouncing all over the track, and it looks like Alexander Scorette has done a fantastic move there and pushed his way up in class. So fantastic move there. Good job for him, and we didn't see anybody spinning out in a BMW even under battling conditions.
No, side by side coming into turn 3. It's probably a recipe for disaster, but the two drivers managed to keep it nice and clean, and Alexander Scorette there managing to get up another position, up to P7th in that Pro-Am field. But looks like we got a few more incidents. So we got another one from Simeon Moldeclev, who's having a torrid time here. I think that is turn number 4 again. Gets it slightly wrong into turn number 5. Literally, just steps out. I think he is just, I think he's probably going to give up very shortly. I mean, that car is just so unstable at the moment, but, you know, great kudos for him for continuing on. That BMW, them tyres must be shot with the amount of times that he has come off track.
Yeah, they're basically squares at the moment, I think, with the amount of flat spots on there. But unfortunately for Simeon, you know, it looks like he's had some incidents, got a bit frustrated, as we all do when things don't quite go our way. And himself and Kim both look like they are sort of potentially, you know, overdriving their setup or just overdriving the conditions, one or the other. It's not working out well for them. But as we're jumping on board now with PJC. Olympus Esports area must be absolutely thrilled for him. I know they'll be having a bit of a chat in their Discord, wishing Paul all the best. You know, he's doing a fantastic job so far, and unfortunately, with that 1 minute 33.13 pit stop of Alan Sandergaard, this has just opened the door for PJC to just pull ahead. And you know, fingers crossed for him. I would love him to get a win today in the rookie category.
Yeah, it definitely is. You can see the temperature of the track, 19 degrees, so going up 1 degree from last time we looked. So. Really ideal racing conditions. It's just the treachery of this track and the undulating corners that got in that's really putting a lot of pressure on these cars, and them slight little mistakes overall are the ones the differences between keeping the car on track or spinning it on an ice rink, as we've seen Simeon. But do have a couple of more incidents. This track is throwing up quite a few incidents. We got Torbjörn Mallet there, an incident from him. Let's have a look, see what happened here. Turn number 3, coming through turn number 4 up to turn 5. Look at anything at the moment. Is he just getting spooked? Oh, he just went slightly wide in that corner, just let the Dane Racing car through, and then carried on his way. I thought he might have been felt maybe a little bit under pressure from the BMW behind, but just getting off track to let the driver through in all. Just looking out on track, it's all been pretty much neutralised. There's not a lot of battling. I think the biggest battle is here with Michael Goff from AKM Racing. With Alexander Scorette. I mean, he's 2 seconds behind Alex. We just saw the excellent move that Alex made on him. We're just looking at an AM of Alte Rudd just right onto the back of Michael at the moment. And you can just see further up the field, Alexander Scorette getting quite close to Gordon Haig in time. Just having a look at that time. It has come down quite considerably between Gordon Haig and Alte Rudd. It was around about 5 seconds. It's now around about 3.5 seconds. So he's lost 2 seconds as Gordon Haig in around about 10 minutes. We've got around about 13 minutes left of this race to go. It could come down to the closing laps if Alte Rudd can still keep on the back of these Pro-Am drivers. He's certainly getting pulled up to Gordon Haig, who's currently leading out the AM race. So we could have a little bit of a race here in the closing stages for this AM battle.
Yeah, I'm just noticing on the back of Michael Goff's car there, what an awful amount of damage actually on the rear end of that BMW, straight in the centre. You can see it on camera now. Even bending the rear wing from where he had that contact up on the inside, which has thrown him into the barrier. But it definitely seems to have hindered his pace a little bit. But just a terrible result for him to get taken out and receive some damage on the rear end. But the double-edged sword is he hasn't received any steering damage as far as we can tell. So able to carry on, but feeling the pressure now from the AM driver behind. It's never nice to have a class below driver putting pressure on you, but you know, Alex obviously done a lot of practice here tonight, and you know, showing that he is racy around his home circuit.
Yeah, it definitely is. You can see the damage on that car. That rear wing has certainly seen better days. Might give him a little bit of help around certain corners, but certainly not round others. So that wing has seen better days. But still managing to keep going on is Michael, currently in P8th overall. Just looking up and down the field, Tom Savage still in 3rd place in the AM. Paul Joseph Cliff still in 1st place in the rookies, still owes a pit stop as well, so getting towards that magical hour marker where it'll literally be a splash and dash. But looking at the timing tower, the top 17 drivers still haven't pitted. You know, we got just over 10 minutes left of this race to go. It's going to be a mad dash right at the end for a little splash of fuel to get them to the end. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think the guys are going to make it all the way to the end, or they shouldn't do, depending on depending on the amount of fuel that we've allowed them for this race. So I know it is a short lap, but with the amount of hills and undulations, and there's not too much slipstreaming here, so that's not going to give them a lot on the fuel side of things. So pit stops are going to be coming in soon. That is really going to mix the field up, because obviously we've got pretty much a third of the field that have pit that are all going to be mingling in with these guys, or potentially with some of these guys when they do hit the pits. So, but yeah, Outlay Red having a fantastic drive here today, and showing that he has got the pace to fight up near the front of the AM field.
Yeah, it definitely has. He's just been passed there. You can see Tom Savage just in front. Let's have a look at the passing move that Tom made on Alta here, coming down into turn number 3. Does he just manage to nick it up the inside? No, not quite yet. So Racing Michael there is Alta. Oh, I think that's where the damage was caused, maybe to the back end of Michael Koff's car. Just gets another tag, which gives the opportunity for Tom to give the passing opportunity on Alta for that 2nd place. So a great recovery drive from where Tom started at the start of this race up to P2 in that AM class.
Yeah, it's I believe it's actually added some additional damage to the back of the AKM Racing car, because the main contact came from the spin by Kim Andre Borkland up on the inside into turn 3. And that did send the AKM Racing car off. It was slightly out of camera shot, but I believe that's where he received the majority of that damage. So anything on the back of the AKM Racing car is really not going to help, though. You know, it's already just about holding the rear bumper on as it is, and he definitely doesn't want any more contact from the rear, and Atlee definitely doesn't want to add any impact to his lap times in his own BMW.
Yeah, certainly hot news coming in now. Lee King McGee has had an incident. Let's have a look. He's currently in P2 in that Pro-Am after controlling this race pretty much from start. What happened? Let's have a look here. Does he just step out wide? No, it's not there. Is it just losing the back end of that BMW here? Oh, he does. He's just going into the corner. Loses it out. He had a 5-second gap, but you can see here, literally coming back off the racing line, and that there is Christopher Otterholt going through for that P1. So that was turn number 14, the final turn on this track, and the back end again just kicking out on that BMW.
Yeah, Lee King McGee's really got some work to do now. He's been, as you said, he's been controlling this race all evening, but he's not miles off the guy in front now. But gosh, there's one thing you don't want to do around this track in the later stages, and that is push hard in the BMW, especially in some of these corners. We've seen it not be stable at all. His setup, obviously, tonight is working well, and he does have control of that vehicle, but that's some terrible, unfortunate thing for the AKM Racing boys, and I know that their crew chief will be absolutely kicking them for that one.
Is that Pops by any chance? I don't know.
It is Pops. I do believe it is Pops, yeah, so Pops will be sort of, giving some words of encouragement, I imagine, and telling Lee to get his back end in gear and get moving on down track. So not a massive, well, I don't want to say a massive gap, but a reasonable gap to the car in front. But it is doable. It is possible, and as we've seen, the stability of the BMWs is not guaranteed. So very easy for Christopher Otto to have an incident, and that could easily allow Lee King McGee back up into the battle for the podium here.
Definitely is, but one of the saving grace for Lee King McGee is his main rival, James Logston, is currently down in P7th in class after that earlier issue. Has still not had the pit, so hasn't got the advantage of having a pit stop. So a lot of these drivers, and I'm just wondering now if they're able to get to the end of this race on that one tank of fuel. It'd be a tall order if it does. We've got half the field that's probably pitted and then half that hasn't. So the top 16 haven't pitted at the moment. So are they going to get to the end of this race on one tank of fuel? It's going to be interesting. They can do it if they can. They don't have to do that pit stop. It's we tried to get the fuel, so that's why we've done it as an hour and 10-minute race, because normally a lot of these GT3 cars can't go more than an hour without filling up. But yeah, it's going to be a tall order. I mean, we've still got 6 minutes left.
Sorry to cut across you there, mate. One thing we could try is Thomas Wangen's camera. I know it was displaying his pit there, his driver dash, and it did show remaining laps of fuel. So I don't know if we can. I know it's a bit cheeky, but maybe we can have a little look-see and get a bit of inside information here to see what's going on. So 7 laps left. So yeah, it looks like they're not going to have to pit, Andy, by the looks of that.
Definitely is. So a lot of fuel saving gone in to get this hour and 10-minute race done. It's going to be the first one of the season where they don't have to make that pit stop out on track. And yeah, well, there's one we know for next season, mate. If we do this track, is to lower the fuel or increase the time.
It'll be an endurance round next season.
Yeah, definitely. Though, imagine an endurance round here. I think we'd get lynched if that was the case, mate.
Yeah, I don't know how many people would be overly happy with that, but yeah, you know, as we're seeing on track there, Thomas Wangen just doing a fantastic job, and the IGL Coatings boys sitting there doing a 1-2-3.
Yeah, it definitely is. As we ride on board with Lance Sorensen, his best finishing position in the season so far. The last place on the podium. We see him very cool, calm, and collected there, and many camera angles. So great viewing position. Looking at his very cool, calm, collective. I think that is the Norwegian way, isn't it? The non-expressional facial expressions, and then we can see his feet working furious away below him with some rather expensive-looking pedals there. But there's Lars Sorensen, currently in IGL Coatings Traffic Skull, Sunday Traffic Skull lockout in that top of that Pro. So doing an exceptional job, and I suppose it pays off doing a bit of the practice, or a lot of the practice. It's certainly a full race spec to see how far you can push the fuel and if you can get to the end, because that's going to save you round about 30-40 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they've done, you know, Thomas Wangen, as we said before, he's done 700 plus laps around here of practice, really showing the commitment to the league, and it's obviously paying off for him. You know, he's been leading out from the beginning, and even his own teammates in the pros there can't even touch him, pushing out now nearly a 6.3 second advantage. So jumping back to Tom Savage here, who's got Gordon Haig sitting up in front of him in the McLaren, taking a slightly wider line there to hopefully get a bit of power on the exit. Having that Team Viking car of Atul Rudd behind him. It's, you know, Atul Rudd's been putting pressure on him all night, and we're watching a decent battle here in the AM class.
Yeah, it definitely is, and this is the top 3 here. So that lead that Gordon and Haig at the start of this race has sort of been eroded. It's gone down from 5 seconds down to all. Tom's trying to look for a run here down into turn number 3. He's going to take the outside line to trying to make a passing move. It's going to be a very brave as it goes side by side through turn number 3, up through turn number 4. Ooh. Tom Savage is going to have the inside line here for turn number. Oh, they touch.
Oh, they're rubbing.
Touch. As Gordon just manages to get the car in front, and this is going to go all the way to the line. The top 3 in the AMS, covered by 1 second, and Altirud there at the back is just watching this battle in front. But I think the McLaren's tyres may well be shot here, because he's lost a load of time in a relatively short amount of time on track. He did have a 2-second gap, and now he's got Tom Savage, our AM leader, all over the back of him. It's a great recovery drive here from Tom to get all the way down to get back and to give him the opportunity here for the win in the AM. I mean, this is going to be a satisfying win if he can get it done, but it's it's all very well being that close, but he's got to try and make the pass and move. Gordon's going to make it super hard for him. Going to go defensive. Let's have a look on board with Thomas Savage here goes to the outside here through turn number 1, trying to get that inside line, but unfortunately the speed there of that McLaren managing to keep it on front. So they're coming down here into turn number 3. Is Tom going to try to make another pass? Getting it slightly twitchy on the exit there, onto the little bit too much on the grass. Loses a little bit of time, but will get that time back. As you can see how close under braking Tom is in that Mercedes as they come through turn 3, up through turn number 4, coming up to turn 5 here. And Gordon is going super defensive. He's got 1 minute left to hold on to try and get this podium position. It's going to be a hard fought win if Gordon can stay there, because Tom is at the moment all over the back of the McLaren, trying to just force an error to get that passing opportunity done.
Yeah, you can see the ability of the McLaren out of the corners there. It really just sticks and goes, but a bit wide by the McLaren there. Tom Savage is looking out on the outside. He's going to now look for the cutback. The McLaren defending on the inside. He's squeezing the throttle, and he goes for the inside move. It looks like he might have got it done, and he pushes past the McLaren. Fantastic move by Tom Savage there, applying enough pressure to get the McLaren into a mistake, and now the McLaren could even potentially be a bit of a sitting duck for Atle Rudd in the back there. So absolutely amazing move by Tom Savage, and what a recovery drive, Andy. As we do see, Atle Rudd is now squeezed up as well past the McLaren and found himself in P2 in the Anfield. Fantastic drive by Atle today, and he's even closing up on Tom Savage there, Andy.
Yeah, he certainly is, and that is terrible for Gordon Haig, leading the majority of this race and then basically coming down to the 2 corners and losing the 2 positions. But we'll come back to this race very shortly, because I believe that it must be that Thomas Wangen here is coming up onto the back of this battling drill. He's got a lot of drivers in front of him as Thomas Wangen. Currently 7 seconds ahead of Neo-Eric Isaacson, so plenty of time out on track. It doesn't need to get involved in these battles, as you can see him there, just getting out of the road for Arias Yomantas. That's the time ticked over, 1 hour, 10 minutes and 41 seconds. So I believe that this is the final lap here for Thomas Wangen to take a well-deserved victory here, 6 seconds ahead of his teammate. Normally see him around about 0.7 of a second, you know, glued to the rear bumper and the front bumper. Oh, as we see there, a little bit of an incident. Oof. And luckily, it's the end of the race here. But Thomas Wangen just getting into the back end of Arias Yomantas, causing a lot of damage on that BMW. But I bet his heart was in his mouth there as he comes around the corner here. And this is the final lap. This is a race win here for Thomas Wangen in the Pro overall. A little bit of an incident there right at the end, but doesn't really end. Neo-Eric Isaacson coming home in 2nd place. But let's join back with the battle. You see here, Tom Savage has managed to pull out a 1.7 seconds gap and Atle Rudd. So that battle for that AM has sort of dissipated as Gordon Haig, and I think his tyres are completely shot in that McLaren, because he's just losing time hand over fist. And but it's still a podium for the McLaren driver of Gordon Haig. Some valuable points out on track, as we see there. Christopher Otterholt managing to secure that top spot in the Pro-Am after that slight issue with Lee King McGee. John O'Cook coming home in 3rd place for the last podium position. But I mean, what a recovery drive there for Tom Savage. Literally had that incident, down in 8th place overall, and has managed to come through the field, and at the closing stage of this race has got the race win as he comes around the last corner.
Yeah, Tom Savage must be absolutely thrilled with that recovery drive, as long as he can keep it here on the last corner. Yes, he can, and he pulls his way in there to take the P1 position in the Anfield. He's the man of the moment, Andy. That is a heck of a drive for him, especially at a track which has been so treacherous and it's not easy to pass on. But we've seen so many cars suffer such a terrible fate, especially the BMW, just struggling all race long. I think we saw our first spin in the BMW, even, what was it, lap 3, lap 4? It's not been the BMW's day, and that Mercedes has just been phenomenal for Tom.
Yeah, it has. I mean, He's certainly the driver in that AM class. I mean, we saw his lead over Simeon, 15 points at the start of this race, pending obviously an appeal process from Simeon, but has extended his points even more. Simeon, just having a look, I think he's actually withdrew, so this will be one of his drop rounds. So there's another nil score for Simeon out in this championship, and at the moment Tom Savage is slightly running away with the overall race in that AM field, but it's all down to practice. You know, he's put in the practice. This is a really hard track, and probably not the car of choice as well. Driving it around in that Mercedes has done an excellent job.
I'd just like to say, Andy, have we seen PJC come across?
We have indeed. He is our top rookie driver, as Paul Joseph, as we watch him just coming into the pit lane for a well-deserved win, and he's always been around about third or fourth. Yeah, we've only had a limited field there in the rookie class, but to get that win, that's some valuable points off the guys in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, Alan Sandergaard did have that horrendous pit stop issue there, where I believe we think it was a speeding in the pits infringement that he incurred. But yeah, fantastic job today by PJC, keeping it on the track and keeping it clean, and he may even have the infamous 0x, Andy. You never know.
Yeah, I'll find that hard to believe, but you never know, with PJC. I'm sure we'll find out when he comes in to talk about his race win. But let's go through the race results here at round number 7 here in Season 2 of the Performance Link GT3 Cup. And in first place, an imperious drive by Thomas Wangen from start to finish, 4 seconds ahead of his teammate Neil Erik Eisen, who is in second place. Lance Sorensen, his best result of the season, getting that final podium position and giving complete lockout in the front 3 positions for the IGL Coatings E-Racing by Sunday Traffic Skull. The top of the Pro-Am was won by Christopher Otterholt, pretty much handed to him on a plate by Lee King McGee after a slight incident round turn number 14. But Lee still manages to get P2 overall in that Pro and P5 overall in the field. John O'Cook rounds out the top 3 in the Pro-Am. Sandow Island in 7th, Mads Gentrensbacken in 8th, Alexander Scoret in 9th, Ketil Larsen in 10th, 4th place overall in the Pro. So some decent points after being pretty much a hard race overall for the Norwegian. At the top of the AM is Tom Savage, as we saw him there, coming from the back of the field pretty much at the start of the race to managing to secure another win in the AM field with Volte Rudd. His best finishing position by far in the rookie class, getting P2. Michael Goff in 13th overall, and Gordon Haig rounds out the podium positions in the AM class. James Logston in 15th, another poor round for James in his title challenge for him. So another one to tick off, which means that he's probably got 2 bad rounds now under his belt and cannot afford to have any more. Arias Mantis in P16th, Shamapon Asavon at 4th overall in the Anfield in P17th, with Ross Fowler in P18th. Looking further down the field then, we got Casper Tungsten in 19th, Sammy Hendricks in 20th, Stefan Anderson in 21st, Jimmy Vark in 22nd, with Kim Andre Borkland in 23rd. PJC first in the rookie in 24th, and Michael Hooper in 25th. 3 laps down, so we'll still score points. Alan Sandergaard getting second in the rookie class with Torben Mallet in 3rd place overall. So some valuable points for them. Simeon Motorclef 4 laps down, so we'll score some points, but pretty much not where he wanted to be out on track. As we look at the tail end, and we have Zach Lawson, who ended his race pretty early on, same with Daniel Seji. So there's your results here for round number 7, and it's been an interesting race.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mixed field, hasn't it? We've had so many cars spinning off and losing control. I don't know if that was a lack of setup or just people trying to push a bit too hard. But this track, the RUDSKOGEN Motor Centre, it really has shown it's not one to mess with, Andy. It's not. I'm calling it the mini Nürburgring, and that's going to stick, I think.
It certainly is. Let's see if we've got. I'm sure we've got a few drivers to get through. So let's start off. Let's have a look. See who we've got in the waiting area. So let's have a look. Have we got? Thomas Wang, and let's bring our race winner. Thomas, welcome to the booth, mate. Not sure if you were meant to show us the telemetry on your camera, but that's what we saw. So it was interesting to see that you were able to do the complete race without doing a pit stop. But a relatively simple race for yourself, not the usual battle we see between yourself and Niels. Just tell us a little bit about it.
That was completely with purpose. You're gonna see my telemetry. My dashboard is something we discuss in the team. So show off to the audience what we can see when we race. We have read the rules 45,000 times, and we figure out there's no mandatory pit stops. So we try to fuel save a couple of 4 or 5 first laps. So yep. That was the whole plan for the whole team, so we managed to get top 4. So all 4 team drivers in top 4.
Definitely is. I mean, to have the lockout in the top of the pro standards 1, 2, and 3 for the IGL Coatings team is it's just a testament to the amount of practice you guys come in. But just going back through that race, and when you watch the replay back, you know, the BMW was a bit of a handful in the rest of the field, certainly coming down into turn number 3. How was the car handling from your perspective, and did you feel pretty much safe in the car, or was it riding a knife edge?
We have tried everything this week. We have tested setups with 0% in the front tires after 53 laps. We managed to fix that, and I think we barely get into 40s in the front and the rear. As a team, we work together very well this week, as usual. My car was completely stable the whole race. No major issues, which from the last couple of turns there was a carnage in front of me, and I got 5x's from that. So I really pissed off because I lost 2 bonus points. So yeah.
It is, but I mean, you had a great round. We did see that little slight incident between the back markers there on the final corner that, like you said, probably took away your 0x and the 2 points. But you're still at the top of the championship, and you still will be there at the top of the championship. But it's certainly becoming more and more like a 2-horse race between yourself and Niels, who's going to win the top of the pro. You got Daniel still in there, had pretty much a terrible round here tonight, didn't finish the race, went out very much earlier on. Do you feel the pressure now of being that top spot in the Pro One, or are you just taking it in your stride?
Always feeling the pressure. Example, to this race, I have so much vibration in my braking point. So if you see my telemetry, it looks like yep, dildo with high power. Always feeling pressure from top guys. Nothing is written in stone yet. It's so long to go. You have 4 weeks of vacation now from the next round in Hockenheim. We're gonna have some fun races between. So yeah, we are prepared for everything. We know Mokes. It's a strong second half of this season as last season. So nothing is written in stone yet.
Definitely not. The reason why he didn't come tonight, he's got the dreaded bug that Tom had last week of COVID. So we hope he gets well and gets back on track to give you a bit of challenge, Thomas, because at the moment, I think you need it, mate.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Nils Erik was there all the time. I knew from practice I will make some distance through the race. But we do some setup changes from Nils Erik the couple of last days. So looking good for the rest of the season. We're looking forward to have a good fight with other guys as well.
Definitely is. We've got obviously a couple of weeks break here, but we've got that mid-season dash. Are you looking forward to that? I think that's going to be a quite interesting race where you're going to be put with teammates that you've never raced with before.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Never driving the car before. Never. Yeah, Alton Park is a fun track. So, but I don't know what that car is, so I just have it in my garage, and it's full of dust.
Full of dust. I'm sure you'll be getting that one out and doing a few laps anyway. But before we let you go, Thomas, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Of course, as usual, Sande Trafikkskole. Jeg vet dere ser på. Bra. Tusen takk for all støtte vi får. And EGL Coatings as well. Elverdi and EK Sim for 3D printing all my stuff on my rig. So and you guys as well. It's awesome content, and looking forward for the second half of the season.
Definitely. Well, congratulations on another race victory, and we look forward to seeing you out next time in the Corvette. It's not the Corvette, is it? It's a Cadillac. So
Cadillac, yeah.
It's going to be an interesting change of car for you, mate. But good luck.
Yeah, it's a hot tub. Thank you.
So there was Thomas Wangen, the top place in there. But we're going to have Christian Otto on standby with you, Tom, for the top spot in the Pro-Am field.
Christopher, welcome to the booth.
Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely fantastic drive by yourself today. Joining your fellow IGL Coatings boys there on the top podium spot. So it was an IGL masterclass today. How did you find that race?
Yeah, it was the team was very great. I think every one of us finished inside the top 10. So that's great. The race was all about tire management. So just drive at a pace, not to use too much tires, and yeah, push at the end.
Yeah, we did see that Lee King McGee, your main rival there in Pro-Am, he had a bit of an incident and dropped about nearly 3 seconds off of you as you pulled into the lead there. Did you see him on the relative? Did you worry that he might start to close you in, or did you just sort of concentrate and keep your composure and get your head down and carry on?
Yeah, I saw him, but he was much faster than me today. But maybe he used too much tires, and the laps in the end there, he didn't catch me, so it was just fine.
As you were saying with the tire management tonight, we did find an awful lot of BMWs spinning in turn 3, coming down the hill under braking. Did you find turn 3 particularly tricky, or did you find the track conditions more slippy than you expected tonight?
No, yeah, we've practiced. I've done 2 full race stints, so I feel I had enough practice, so that was okay.
Yeah, we know you guys seem to put an awful lot of practice in. How many hours of practice did you put in for this event?
I don't know. I did 2 full race stints and yeah, a bit more, but I have other stuff to do as well, so I can't sit here every day. But
you can't sit there like Thomas.
yeah, it's the reason he's really fast.
Yeah, practice does make perfect. So,
Yeah.
but fantastic win for yourself today, and it's just adding more points onto your attempt for the championship here. So, fantastic drive today. And before we let you go, is there anybody you would like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course, the team, IGL Coatings and Sande Trafikkskole, our main sponsor, and Elverdi, and also EcoSim. But big shout out to Thomas Wangen for giving me a setup this week, as always. So that's it's really nice to have the guys that spend many hours on setup when you can't do it yourself.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to have the pro setup on tap for the Pro-Am drivers. So that's obviously worked out very well for you this evening. And massive congratulations on your P1, mate. And we look forward to seeing you at our fun race in the Cadillac coming up soon.
I'm not gonna attend there, so.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see if you can watch the stream back at some point. Then you'll get to see what you missed out on. But once again, massive congrats on P1, and have yourself a good night.
Thank you. You too.
So there was Christopher Otterholt getting first in the Pro-Am. Let's move over to probably mine and Tom's driver of the day. Tom Savage joins us into the box. Tom, how the hell do you actually do that? I mean, we saw at the beginning of the race, you spun it down the back end of the Anfield and you just cut your way through. And obviously we saw the passing moves at the end. Just take us through that race and the highs and lows that you felt during that race.
Well, there were a lot of lows. So got an all right start. I think I made it up to P2. That was fine. I was happy to follow behind Simon. And then I don't know really what happened. I've never spun there before, ever. But I think I maybe caught the grass. I saved it, and then I caught the grass, and it all went wrong from there. After that, it was just get your head down. I'd planned the no stop from before the race, so I just had to complete the mission, which was fairly straightforward until the last 7 laps or so, I think, when there was Atley and Gordon. I had to properly fight for position. Got past Atley okay. I think he let me past a little bit. He made a mistake and he just tucked in behind. And then Gordon was on every apex and there was nowhere to go. But I can't remember what happened. I think he made a mistake. He went wide somewhere, and the left-hander, just where you're facing towards the pits, snuck it down the inside and made it stick.
Yeah, it was turn number 12. We caught it on stream, the passing move. It was a great setup, because we were watching it for a couple of laps. That Gordon was being super defensive, just not giving you the opportunity to make that passing move. And I think you really had to try and set him up for the passing. We saw that you went the racing line, he went defensive again, and you had the overspeed on the inside coming up through turn number 12. So it was one of them classic moves when somebody in front of you is just being ultra defensive, which is something that they can do, obviously, to try and stop you from getting past. But you managed to get through there. I mean, if we take you back from the start, the first incident, obviously you were P2. You were on the back of P1. You spun. You literally had to stop to let the whole field through to get through. Then you were dead last. And going through, when you got up to sort of like P3, did you think you were going to catch Alte and Gordon, being that they were so far in front of you?
So, I mean, just covering the incident again briefly, I think that maybe helped. I got quite a lot of clean air for maybe third half of the race, so I was able to just lap. I think I was watching the relative, and Simon, I think, looked like he was hitting traffic. So I was quite happy that I was keeping the gap to him. And then once I got up to P3, I could see I'd been catching them. For the middle of the race, I thought that Atle was in the lead, and then rudely found out that Gordon was actually in the lead, like 6 or 7 seconds ahead of him, which that was disheartening at the time. But I could see I was catching them, so it was just a case of keep doing it, and if you do, you do. If you don't, well, I think by that point Simon had an incident or something. I went past him in the pits, so I was content with my main rival out of the picture to just finish where I did.
Yeah, certainly. I think it was a day to forget for Simeon. You'll probably see it back on the broadcast. He had many incidents, couldn't really control that BMW, but certainly that BMW is a handful, and you'll see many incidents going around turn number 3. I think you actually made a passing move around turn number 3 as well. So that was quite an astounding feat when everybody else was sort of sliding off. But congratulations again, Tom, on another win in the AM. It seems to be becoming a regular thing. This, and like you said, your main rival in second place, probably not having the round that he wished he had. But I mean, you're just running away at the moment with that AM one. You've got to be super confident going into the final rounds that it's down to you if you win that AM class or not.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was a lot more confident before I looped it at the start of this race. I thought I'd practiced that out of my system, but apparently not. But it turned out okay. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm confident, but I'm happy to just take it as it comes now. I'm not going to have to push as hard as maybe I would have done.
Yeah, it definitely is. But congratulations on another win in the AM, mate. It's getting to be a usual bonus. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Everybody as usual, you guys. I'm sure the broadcast will be great. I'm looking forward to watching it back. Team Bear Pope, always great help if I ever need any tips on anything. I think during my rejoin, I may have given one of them a little tap, so I'll apologise for that in the interview. Otherwise, yeah, just everybody who's watching the stream still, I suppose.
Definitely is. Well, congratulations on your win in the AM, and look forward to seeing you in the mid-season friendly in a couple of weeks' time, and back in May for the next round in the championship.
Yep, I'll hope so. I'll try and clear my schedule out.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Cheers, Tom. Thank you. So there was Tom Savage. You win it in AM after probably the drive of the day, going from the back of the field all the way back up to the front. But we can't do without looking at the rookie class. And over to you, Tom, for PJC.
Paul, welcome to the booth. What a result for you today, mate.
Thank you very much. That took some hard work.
Yeah, it did look like quite a bit of a battle out there, just managing the grip and everything else. We noticed that your main rival of Alan Sandergaard, he had a massive incident in the pits. We weren't quite sure what happened. He ended up having a 1 minute 33-second pit stop, and that just opened the gates for you, mate. You were already doing consistently decent laps, and as soon as you got that, you just drove off ahead and never looked in the rearview mirror. So how were you finding the track conditions out there today?
Yeah, the track conditions was pretty good. I think it was just a track in general that was pretty tricky for me to drive. But the setup really did help. Where I'm working with Major Garage, I managed to get the front end of the car on the tricky turn-ins. I lost it once, I think. But yeah, I managed to get into there, see the turn-in perfectly, and let the other guys fast. That was faster than me through. To get the back end of their car, to get the draft, and managed to keep it on the track.
Yeah, I mean, it was a thoroughly deserved win. We did cut to you a fair few times on the stream, and every time we did cut to you, you looked like you were handling things just fine there. Are you starting to You're starting to realize now that your racecraft is coming through a little bit, and you're managing the races better than you did in season 1?
Yeah, I mean, where I got to absolute legends TC and Scott Mokes constantly training. Unfortunately, it wasn't available for this race due to the 24-hour go-karting race they had. But yeah, with those two, it's absolutely been a phenomenal trying to keep up with those.
Yeah, I mean, you're very lucky to have such experienced and knowledgeable drivers in your back pocket there to help you out with the line and give advice and things. So, being in the rookie category, are you thinking now with the additional training and things you're receiving that once the season is over, you may look to go up to AM, or are you looking to go for a rookie championship win?
Yeah, I'm like considering the extra help that I've got on board continuing happening. I'm thinking of moving up to AM to take my limits to the next level.
Yeah, I mean that would be awesome. We think you've rightfully earned your place to bump up for next season, but the way you're managing the car and the way that you're driving these days compared to season 1, it's a noticeable difference. And bravo for you for putting the time in and obviously seeing the results out on track. So the only other question I have is, are you going to join us for the Cadillac mid-season showdown?
I certainly will be.
Good man. So yeah, you'll be racing with a team of anybody's. So it'll be very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to this live stream coming up soon. And it'll be good to see you out on track driving the infamous Cadillac. So before we let you go, mate, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, obviously there's TC, Scott Mokes, the whole of Olympus Esports, their sponsors, and absolutely you guys do a phenomenal job week in and week out.
Thank you, mate. We really appreciate that. So it definitely means a lot to Andy and I for the hours and hours we put in making videos and doing points and managing the chat. So it's really, really appreciated. And once again, a massive congratulations on your podium win today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Cheers.
It was Paul, our top of our champions in the rookie class. You know, after Alan, probably it'd be interesting to find out. I'm sure we'll find out in the chat what happened to him, but I do think it was a stop goal penalty for speed in the pit, certainly with that amount of time on show. But we do have a couple of more interviews to go at. Let's have a chat with Lass. Let's bring Lass into the booth. Lass, welcome to the booth, mate. Your best finishing position on track for the season. Your teammates, or should I say your team as a whole, really put in a lot of practice for this, and it's certainly shown by your teammates getting the top 1-2, you getting third, so a complete lockout from IGL Coatings, and then Christopher Otterholt as well, getting the top of the Pro-Am in the field. Just take us through the race itself. How did that car feel for you? And I'm pretty sure when you watch back the stream, how many other people suffered in that BMW?
Yeah, I didn't have any good thoughts earlier today. I have been struggling so badly, so I did build my own setup earlier today, and I had no belief that it would be a lockout in any way, but it worked very well. You had to be very patient, and it wasn't a single break on this 70-minute race, so it was quite tough, I have to admit.
Yeah, it definitely is. Obviously, you IGL Coatings guys did certainly put in a lot of the time and figured out, along with pretty much half the grid, that you could get around this race in the 1 hour, 10 minutes with just using the one fuel of tank. I mean, that's got to be a massive advantage to yourself. And obviously, keeping the car on track as well for that 110 minutes, like you said, certainly took its toll, but you come out on the end and were your best result of the season so far, so you must be thrilled.
Yeah, I'm super happy. Finally, I have been. Yeah, it's been too many minor errors messing it up for me. So I just need to learn myself to be more patient and also think more about tire wear. I'm not as good as Thomas and Nils-Erik taking care of my tires. So I had I think it was lap 13, 14 or something, I just had to let Nils-Erik go. If not, I had burned my tires. So I just had to manage that myself throughout the race.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, we look at the rest of the pro field, it got sort of decimated. It was only you three that were at the front. The rest of the pro field really suffered and struggled. We can see a lot of the drivers. Daniel, obviously, unfortunately, decided this round probably wasn't for him. Ketio having a bit of a struggle. He ended up behind you in fourth. Arias. So it was a war of attrition, and it's a really tricky track. I've never really driven around this track, so this has been a first experience for me, but I certainly like the track.
It's quite slippery, so it's difficult. And also you have these off tracks and also these slowdowns. It's very harsh on this track, so you need to put in some practice to get the track to know very well.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see you guys put a lot of practice in with your results here. Along with the rest of the season, your team is well gelled, and basically you put a lot of the practice in through the rounds, and it's sort of paying out now in the positions that you guys are coming in at the end of the races. I mean, the old saying, practice makes perfect, certainly works well with your team, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely it does, and it's a great cooperation within the team as well. So we function very well together, and we make the time to do the necessary practice to get results. So it's a fun team to be within.
Definitely is. Well, we have sort of seen you in a pit stop, and we will get you on another pit stop because the last one was a bit hit and miss with audio issues. So we've sorted that out. Yeah. So the next pit stop we come on, mate, if you're available, we'll get on and have a good chat with you. But congratulations on your first podium of the season.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to give a shout out to anyone before we let you go, mate?
Of course I do. First and foremost, all our sponsors, Sande Trafikkskole, Eagle Coatings, Elverdi, and EcoSim. And of course the teammates at Eagle Coatings Iracing, and not at least you guys, Andy and Tom, for putting this series up and running for us guys.
You're more than welcome, mate. Give us racing like that, we'll put them on all the time, mate. But congratulations on your third place.
Thank you so much.
There's that. Next one, we got another one, Fast and Furious. Let's get Lee King McGee after Probably another round to forget, but over to you, Tom.
Lee, welcome to the booth, mate. Not the result you were after tonight. After leading out almost all of the way there. What happened? And let us know what it was like from your perspective.
Yeah, absolutely gutted. But I come up to, is it Tolborn Mahal or something? And fair play, he stayed out left. I thought I was going sliding out into him, so I've overturned slightly a little bit more and just lost the back end. I was absolutely gutted.
Yeah, we did actually see that incident on stream, and it did look like sometimes when you are passing slower cars, your eyes can wander a little bit as you're trying to make the move, and unfortunately just lost the back end. We did see the BMW was awfully twitchy on this track today, so you were managing things very, very well and pulling out in the lead. After you did have your incident, you were about 2.5 seconds, I believe, off Christopher Otterholt. What was your plan so far on in the race? Did you think you're just going to push incredibly hard and try and go after him, or did you think you're just going to bag the points and keep pushing your way forwards in the championship fight?
Well, after I recovered it, I thought this is going to have to be it. I'm going to have to, hot lap now. So I was hot lapping, and then when I started putting my foot to the floor around like chicanes and stuff, the wheels were just giving away. So I thought I'd just sit here and just settle for the points.
How much work did you end up doing on your setup? Because we saw, I mean, if you watch the stream back, you'll see as well. There was I don't know, it must have been 7-8 incidences maybe with BMWs going into turn 3. So did you find the setup aspect quite tricky for this track, or the conditions themselves quite bad?
Well, my qualifying one was I had soft front anti-roll bar and back anti-roll bar, but in the race I had to stiffen it up slightly more. I was losing it on where was I? Where you go around the hairpin and you come up the hill and you go left where I lost it. That I just kept losing it all the time there. I couldn't figure out why. But then saying that, I've had new pedals which I'm not used to. I'm so glad I'm used to them now. Not as much but yeah.
Yeah, we know you've just got yourself some of the Husingveld sprints, I believe. So putting the pennies in where you need to, and hopefully that's going to give you the extra tenths that you need. But I mean, you've adapted quite quickly to them, obviously being able to run in the lead for that long. So what's your strategy going forward for the next round, which is now a little ways off at Hockenheimring?
I've just got to be as fast as I can and just finish as high as I can, and it's all about points now.
Yeah, we are coming into sort of the it's not quite the final furlong, but it's definitely the later stage of the championship. So as we saw last season with Scott Mokes, he wasn't really contending, but he put in such consistent positions. They weren't necessarily wins, but they were just consistency, and that crept him all the way up the board to the point where he actually won the championship. So it does go to show that it's not just about getting that first place to secure the victory. So if your game plan is to just go flat out and get the wins, then more for you. And apparently Pops says no more stupid mistakes would be good. So I don't know if you
just have to give me a 5-race ban. I'll do.
Oh, I knew it was coming.
Sorry,
so.
mate.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So if you win the championship, we'll be sure to send you a 5-race ban T-shirt.
I'll hold you to that.
No, that's fine.
And I'll wear it on stream just for you.
You have to have a cam first, though, mate.
Do you want me to come to the podcast on Wednesday? If you got anyone?
I think we're going to get last in, but we could do. Could we get one more? Could we do one more, Andy?
We'll have to see if we're doing the draw for the mid-season. So we'll let you know anyway, Lee.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Yeah, I mean, we'll if we can, we'll certainly get you in. So, but as far as the mid-season event goes, are you boys joining us for that?
Yeah, I'll be there. Michael's there, so yeah, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Driving the infamous Cadillac GT3 car. Yeah, she's it's definitely a handful, that car. So we've taken the chicane out because we don't know if it'll fit through the chicane. So we've we've removed the chicane from Alton Park, and we're really looking forward to that one. And I just want to say, unlucky today, mate, not getting the race win, but you definitely showed your pace and showed your ability out there tonight. And unfortunately, you got to settle for silver. So
not a problem, mate.
Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Used to again for hosting this fantastic championship, AKM Racing, and everyone who we race with.
Short and sweet, just how we like it. So, congratulations again, mate. Second place is definitely a decent result either way, and we look forward to seeing you out in the Cadillac.
Yep, see you next week, guys.
Cheers, Lee.
There was Lee there, our second place overall. I think he'll be disappointed, Tom, but I think overall when he sees the results where everybody else fell, he'll, it's just as we see that, there's his incident on screen. So as if by magic. So basically he's going to be happy where he sees the rest of the standings, where his championship rivals all finished. I think they had a worse day than finishing second overall. But without further ado, let's see. Yes, we do have one more. Let's get our very own Jono Cook in. Jono, welcome to the booth, mate. Third place overall. Finally getting some performance out of that Mercedes. Is it the livery?
Livery and the car change definitely has worked.
So obviously, looking at this, finishing third overall, how did you find the Mercedes around this track? We saw on stream a lot of the cars were very much struggling. How did you find the car? And certainly being in the Mercedes, which probably wasn't the car of choice around this track.
It was absolutely fine around the track. Felt like a dream, really. So it wasn't too bad on the exits. Really nice on the turn in the setup I had. So, and the tyre wear I had at the end, I think I was 50% on the front still and 60% on the rear. So, my only regret is I didn't really push harder, I suppose.
Yeah, it definitely is. Obviously, let's talk about your season as a whole. You've obviously came into the season, brand new to the season, very quick driver. Your SEAL club in Iracing, which pushed you up into the Pro-Am field. Obviously, the rounds haven't gone the way you probably were expecting to begin with, but is that down to the ultra competitive of that Pro-Am field, or is it just slight little mistakes and now we're going to see a different Jono in the second half of this season?
It's a good point, actually. I'd say probably start of the season, I was probably still trying to find my feet. I did take a sabbatical from Iracing for a good few years, so this is the first league I've joined, and Canada was the first racer I had back on Iracing. And obviously since the last been on Iracing, all the GT3s are changed now, so completely different feeling to what I was used to. So I'd say my season is going to pick up a bit more now, but I'm going to say I was largely part to the car change. I just feel so much more confident in the Mercedes. It just gives me sort of a feel, and it just everywhere I've driven with it so far, it just seems to do so well and cope so well with all the curbs. So I'm really happy. I had to take a penalty to do it, but I'm much more enjoying my races now, and thankfully I've come out with 2 podiums and 2 races. So I hope that with the coming races, it's going to really suit the Mercedes, especially with a bit more of a longer straight to them. So, and I'm of course always really looking forward to driving Bathurst, my favourite circuit. So.
Yeah, it definitely is. We got Hockenheim, which is probably one of the one with the most straights on there, so the Mercedes should be super strong around that track with the straight line speed that car has. Obviously, we've got a little bit of a break now. We've got the mid-season special coming up in 2 weeks' time. What are you going to do in the sort of down season? Are you going to do the 24-hour Nürburgring? Are you going to go and do that the week before the season kicks off again for the final push, or are you just going to chill out and enjoy other things?
Enjoy other things. So, obviously signed up to TCR League with you guys, and looking forward to driving around some of the UK tracks in that car, and trying to not cry while I drive the Honda Civic Type R, because I unfortunately had to sell mine. So, I'll just be trying to sort of level up my palette on iRacing really, and sort of get back into the swing of sort of all the physics and and the game again and enjoy it, most important.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. But congratulations on what seems to have turned around your season and another podium, as you said, third in that very competitive Pro-Am field. Before we let you go, mate, would you like to give a shout out to anyone?
Yeah, my strategist, Russ Fowler, he always pulls out a masterclass. The opposite of Ferrari, except for he actually gets it right every time. So, yeah, really appreciate all the work he does with me and all the practice we do during the week. So.
Definitely as well. Congratulations on your third place, mate, and look forward to seeing you in the mid-season sprint and obviously when the season kicks off again on the 21st of May.
Yep, looking forward to the mid-season special.
Oh, it'll be good. Cheers, Jono.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
So there was Jono there, obviously second place overall in the Pro-Am field and really starting to kick on now into the season. It's good to see a lot of the drivers, Tom, starting to get their mojo. You know, certainly the ones that haven't raced in season one, the ones that have joined us for the first time, like Jono there, obviously trying to come back after a long absence. You've got Torben, who's very much trying to learn the racecraft and that and sticking with it and still seems to be enjoying the races. So I think that's one of the main things that we want to bring to this league, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, a performance link, we want it to be inclusive to everybody. That's one reason why we've gone with 4 classes. It's not something that happens very often in sim racing. I don't think it happens really hardly ever in sim racing platforms. So a lot of people want to get into league racing, but they don't know how to or where to start or anything like that. So, you know, we've got some pros that are ridiculous high I rating, and we've got some rookies that are low I rating. We want to have it as an inclusive, you know, broad field for everybody. So, you know, if you're watching the stream or you're watching this, you know, at a later date, look us up on Discord, you know, or click the link in the description and hop on in, and we're more than happy to guide people through and get you on the grid and get you into some racing. So the only way you really get a lot faster is by racing with faster people. So finding your limits and pushing yourself is something that we want to strive to achieve within this league.
100%, and that's why we've got 4 classes in the league as well to cater for the lower end of the iRacing spectrum. You know, this every other league that I've been in, you get like high level AMs and low level, so it's a low level and never really been able to do anything. So, you know, hence why we've got the 4 classes in this league. But it's going to be interesting. So we've got a little bit of a break now for 3 weeks. So we've got a break week next week. Then we come back with our mid-season special. That's going to be 4 hours in the Cadillac GTS car with a fixed setup, teams of 4. The drivers don't know who their teammates are. We're going to literally draw that out of a hat on a podcast, so we can see that. We've got that to look out for, a little bit of an icebreaker for the guys to get to know each other a little bit more. Then there's the 24-hour iRacing of Nürburgring the following week before we're back the week after that in Hockenheim, which should be an interesting one. Then we got the following week after that is our second endurance around the ring, Nordschleife Ring GP track. So that's going to be interesting. But that brings us to the end of this broadcast here tonight. It's been an epic one. BMW drivers probably wish they weren't in the BMW in this race, but it's certainly been entertaining for us. But a big thank you to our sponsors, Performance Link, Green Future Technology, TC Simography, STK Gaming, Extreme Scoring, and Demon Tweaks. Without them, we would not be able to put on this league and do all the admin as a 2-man team behind the scenes. So a big thank you out for them. But Tom, we've got a little bit of a break now before we come back for the finale of the season and the run into Bathurst in June. But we've still got that little mid-season special to look forward to, haven't we?
Yeah, the mid-season event's going to be absolutely savage. I don't know if many people have driven the Cadillac, but it is one car that is it's not for the faint-hearted. You know, it sounds absolutely phenomenal. It's hella wide, hella fast. And it's going to be crazy to see what these guys can handle over 4 hours at at Alton Park, which is certainly not it's not an easy track. It's not an easy track to pass on. We don't want to make it too easy for them, do we? So,
Definitely.
But this is just looking to be a nice fun event to everyone get out there, stretch their legs, and have a bit of a blast. And looking forward to it, mate.
Definitely is. But that brings us to the end of this broadcast. My name's been Andy Thompson. I've had Tom sat next to me, and I've been doing all the production behind the scenes, so hopefully it's not been too bad. But, you know, until the mid-season special in 2 weeks' time, we come back for round number 8 on the 21st of May. So until then, have a good night and look forward to seeing you soon. Goodbye.